FM Studios. Here's CDOT.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You are listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Excited to be here with you, getting you ready for the weekend. We have the Chiefs' unofficial fourth preseason game to get into. We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit. The Chiefs are an 11-point underdog in this game, and something that does not make sense to me. We'll get to that. We'll also talk about the top story regarding the Kansas City Chiefs and how everything is coming up positive for the Chiefs as they get ready for the postseason. We'll talk a little bit of college football as we have wrapped up the quarterfinals in the college football playoff and look ahead to this semifinal. We also are going to take trips around the National Football League. This week may not mean a whole lot to the Kansas City Chiefs, but there's a lot of teams that this week is very important for. We have one of the biggest regular season games in recent memory between the Lions and the Vikings. We'll take a trip to Detroit and Minnesota. We're also going to go to Denver at some point in today's show as well. We're also going to go to Cincinnati. Cincinnati still has a chance to make the postseason. There is a lot to get into in today's show. Again, my name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be here. Let me encourage you guys, before you head home today, go ahead and stop by the gas station. Go ahead and fill up. And I'm not saying you got to go crazy at the grocery store. Just stock up. Just prepare. I'm not saying that the world is ending. I'm not saying that we are heading towards some snowpocalypse, but make sure you got enough that can hold you through the weekend. You got enough that can hold you through a Saturday and Sunday as you're in the house. You don't got to go out. You don't got to Uber Eats or anything. You got enough where you can just throw a pizza in the oven if need be. You can make yourself a sandwich. You got enough beer. You got enough juice. You got enough snacks to get you through the next couple of days. That would be my advice to you and yours. We will talk about the weather because you guys know if there's one thing that I've been consistent on in my career, it is my hatred for the weather. I don't like it. I don't want any parts of it. I'm not fooling with it. I don't have any plan on going outside. Once I get home tonight, I'm in. I am going to be in the house from the moment this show is over and I head home until it is time for me to go back to work out there on Monday. They're using words I hate hearing. Winter advisory, wintry mix, freezing rain, blizzard. One person tells you it's going to be 4 to 6 inches. The next person tells you it's going to be 1.5 foot blizzard. They're using words I don't want any part of. So once this show is over, I'm going home and I am in the house. I'm playing college football 25. I'm playing Madden. I'm watching TV shows. I'm watching movies. We got football. We got a great Saturday of college basketball. You can have this weather nonsense if you want. I don't want any parts of it. Rob, give him a pizza.
Pizza time on the drive. Carrington, dial me up right now. Call number 6, 913-586-7965. Call number 6 wins a pizza from our friends over at Pizza Tassio. Pizza Tassio is Kansas City's best New York-style pizza, and they have taken over the town. They lovingly use 100% whole milk mozzarella, all organic tomato sauce with locally grown, fresh ingredients, all made by KC guys who both know and love pizza. They also have a killer selection of craft and local beers, plus unique wines. So whether you're hungry enough for a whole pie or just a slice or two, be sure to visit them now. PizzaTassio.com. That's pizza, TASCIO.com.
I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day at 2 o'clock. Number two, I need you to tell one friend. It'd be great if you could tell 2 friends, but you know what? If you could just tell one friend, I would greatly appreciate it. And tell somebody you know, Happy New Year. I would appreciate that very much. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we are going to head to Cincinnati to take a closer look at their matchup this weekend. They play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cincinnati can still make the postseason. They need a lot of help to make the postseason, but they still have a shot. We'll catch up with our guy Mo Edgar coming up in a bit. So let me read to you a little bit of breaking news. Jalen Watson has been designated to return from IR. They have opened up his practice window. He is going to have now around 2 weeks to practice, prepare, and get ready to play for the Chiefs' next postseason game. Everything that could possibly go right for the Chiefs in the last 21 days has happened. The Chiefs had a difficult stretch where they played 3 games over an 11-day span. They not only won all 3 of those games, they played their best football during that time period. Travis Kelce got an additional touchdown. He is now the all-time touchdowns leader for the Kansas City Chiefs. Your defense is getting healthy. Your defense is getting right. You got the return of Hollywood Brown. He played really well. DJ Humphries has practiced all this week. He is planning on starting at left tackle. Rob, I'm simply trying to do a mental checklist of every story that has come out about the Kansas City Chiefs over the last 2-3 weeks or so. There has not been a single one that has not been in your favor for this team to be heading into the most important stretch, the part of the season that we wish we could have fast forwarded to. Hey, I know this team's going to win their division. I know this team is going to make the postseason. Let me know their lot in life. And as you are now 2 weeks away from knowing who your opponent is, getting ready for the postseason, and playing yet another playoff game at Arrowhead Stadium, everything is coming up Chiefs right now. I think Mitch Holtz has had the best saying so far of anybody that we have had on. The Chiefs won 3 games in 11 days. If the Chiefs can now win 3 games over a 45-day stretch, they're going to win their 3rd Super Bowl in a row. We are talking unprecedented, one of the greatest feats in the history of American sports. The Chiefs have the opportunity to do that. And again, everything that you would have wanted to happen for the Chiefs is currently happening for the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me give you guys a statistic about Jalen Watson and his return and what this means. Now, I'm talking to Chiefs fans, so I don't have to tell you guys how important Jalen Watson is, but let me give you a stat anyway. This comes from our dear friends over at the 33rd team. A lot of our guys over at Pro Football Focus have made the switch over, and now they're at the 33rd team. Opposing quarterbacks completed 60% of their passes against the Chiefs when Jalen Watson was on the field. The completion percentage when Jalen Watson was not on the field was 67%. That is a drastic difference of what one player does to your defense and what it means for your team. We're talking 7%. We're talking about when he is on the field, you dip below league average in terms of completion percentage. For this team to be heading into the postseason and now getting the ability to rest your key stars. Chris Jones is not playing in this game. Trent McDuffie is not going to play in this game. You got back Charles Omenihu, and he's playing exceptional football. And now you couple that with getting Jalen Watson back, and now your cornerback room is complete. At a time in which some of the young guys have really stepped up and played well. Chamari Connor looks like he's coming back from injury. He was a full participant in practice this week. Hicks has played really well of late. Brian Cook has really improved his play. You are really talking about a team and a defense that is firing on all cylinders at this point, and not just playing good football, also getting healthy simultaneously. The news could not be any more positive for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Rob, you and I subscribe to this belief, and I don't think we're the only two people that believe this, is that Vegas usually knows, right? No matter how much you think you know about sports, Vegas is just a little bit smarter than you. Can you help me understand this Chiefs line? Because I don't understand this line. So heading into Sunday's game against the Denver Broncos, and I understand that for Denver, this game means everything, and for the Chiefs, this game doesn't really mean anything for them. The Denver Broncos are 10.5-point favorites in this game. Vegas is telling you that the Chiefs have no chance of winning this game. Huh? This is not the first time that the Chiefs have been in this position where they didn't need to play the final game of the season. They were simply playing out the string, and just last year, they won. In fact, less than a year ago, January 7th of 2024, the Kansas City Chiefs were in this exact same position. Blaine Gabbert started for the Kansas City Chiefs. He threw for 154 yards. LaMichael Pirine, a name you probably haven't heard in quite some time. He got 21 carries for 76 yards. McCole Hardman was their leading receiver that day, 6 catches for 77 yards. That was just about it. They went on the road and they beat the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, this Broncos team is not the Chargers from a season ago. The Chargers were 5-12 and fired their head coach and completely renovated their team. But we've seen this before, whether it's Blaine Gabbert at the end of the season, Chase Daniel at the end of the season. This is not the first time that the Chiefs have been in one of these situations. We're done with our regular season. You guys can go on and do whatever you need to do, but we are taking this week off, and we are going to rest up mentally and physically and get ready for the grind that is the postseason. This is way too many points for me. I took the Chiefs actually at the beginning of the week when they were plus 11 just because that number jumped out to me and screamed. Yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm looking at the odds right now. You're telling me that the Chiefs are one of the biggest underdogs on the board. I'm just not buying it. We had Mitch Holtz on the show, second time I've quoted him in this, and Mitch says, yeah, Andy wants to win this game. If there's anybody that can speak to sort of how Coach Reid is feeling in this, it's the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtz, who's as plugged into that building as anybody. I'm not telling you the Chiefs are going to win. I don't really care whether or not the Chiefs win this game. It doesn't matter or not. But I do know this. The Chiefs are not laying down for the Denver Broncos, and the Chiefs are going to play hard on Sunday and try to win the game. Maybe they don't have enough pieces to win this game. Maybe they're tinkering and doing some things and trying to figure things out. But this isn't a preseason game. There's going to be starters that have to play because of your roster limitations. You're going to have to field a competitive team. And there's enough talent and enough depth there for Kansas City where they are not getting blown out in this game. This game is not going to be a 31-17. Chiefs had no chance to win this game. Heading into the fourth quarter, the Chiefs are going to have an opportunity, and we'll see if they have enough horses to potentially knock off a team that could make the postseason. All right, coming up on the other side, we are going to head to Cincinnati. We're going to bounce around the National Football League today. I'm also going to give you guys the list of games that do matter this week in the National Football League and the games that don't matter in the National Football League. That's all coming up. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Your projects begin here. The Casey Remodel and Garden Show, presented by Renewal by Anderson, January 10th through 12th at the American Royal Center. 3 days only for great deals, new ideas, and practical advice with trusted local experts. See twin sisters Leslie Davis and Lindsay Lamb from HGTV's hit show Unsellable Houses on Friday and Saturday. Shop, compare, and save on kitchens and baths to outdoor living and more at the Casey Remodel and Garden Show, January 10th through 12th. Buy tickets early and save at CaseyRemodelandGarden.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 137th and Metcalf in Overland Park on Friday, January 3rd. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Make 2025 the year you get started on your next success with the University of Maryland Global Campus. An accredited state university, UMGC is a school for real life, helping working adults like you learn the skills you need for the career you want. Choose from more than 135 degrees and certificates in career-relevant fields and earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and life and work experience. Or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer scholarships, affordable tuition, and online and hybrid classes, all with the support you need from your first day to graduation day and beyond. Get a head start on your goals in the new year. Now is the perfect time to take the next step in your life and education at University of Maryland Global Campus. Apply now and save with no application fee. Undergraduate and most graduate courses start January 8th. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
So, you got a new gadget over the holidays. Don't forget to listen to your favorite station on Odyssey. Unwrapped a new Amazon Echo or Google Home? Be sure to tell your smart speaker to play your favorite station. Received a new Sonos speaker? Check on Odyssey on the Sonos app for access to hundreds of stations. Got a new phone? Don't forget that the Odyssey app is the only way you can jump to your favorite show with Rewind. No matter what you received this year, listen to your favorites with Odyssey. Download the free Odyssey app today. AUDACY.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Dusty Likens, and in case you didn't already know, I'm here to tell you that you can watch all the shows here on 96.5 The Fan across all our social media channels. That's right. If you want to see our smiling faces as we talk about the best sports fans and teams in the country, subscribe to our YouTube channel or watch on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. Wake up with us, eat lunch with us, and go home with us. Your home for Kansas City sports, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Nick Bolton, MIZ. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
I know that no one is going to want to admit this, because the number one thing about the National Football League is television ratings. We don't care about anything else. How many people watch the game on television? That is what fuels just about every decision in the National Football League. But I want to read to you guys a list of what we have coming up in Week 18 of the National Football League, and I want you to keep this question in mind. Why did we need to do this? Did you guys know that this week in the National Football League, there are going to be 15 backup quarterbacks who are going to start this week? Now, if you want to get very technical, we could reduce it to 13 if you want. If you don't want to count Michael Penix as a backup quarterback, even though he was a backup quarterback, or you don't want to count Mason Rudolph as the backup quarterback behind Will Levis, even though I would consider Mason Rudolph to be a backup quarterback. We are talking about almost half of the league is starting a backup quarterback this week. We can go through some of the names. Bailey Zappi, Tyler Huntley, Joshua Dobbs, Tanner McKee. I watch a lot of college football. Who in the hell is Tanner McKee? What college did he go to? Who is he? What does he look like? I've never seen, heard, or know anything about Tanner McKee. I don't even know what team he's the backup for. We also have the Dallas Cowboys situation, so it could be Cooper Rush, it could be Trey Lance, we got Aiden O'Connell, Carson Wentz, Mac Jones. Now, not all of this is directly related to teams who have everything clinched. Sure, Kansas City has everything clinched, but Jacksonville certainly doesn't have anything clinched. It's a combination of everything. We did not need to expand the season outward the way that we have. And I would say that there has been more bad to come from it than good. We had a Monday Night Football game this past week that had no bearing on the playoffs. It was just football for the sake of football. This Week 18 game, half of the league is playing a backup quarterback this weekend. We didn't need this. We were fine at 16 the way that we were. We were fine with the 1 and the 2 seed getting a bye week. We didn't need more NFL. It has not made it a better product. It is simply just excess football. Rob told me a stat. Did you know that on Sunday, there are only 3 games that have playoff implications? Now, I understand it's a little bit fun with endpoints because of Saturday's games, but there are only 3 games on the final day of the regular season that have playoff implications. Let's go through the scenarios. There are 4 teams that have absolutely nothing to play for. The Chiefs, Buffalo, Texans, and Eagles. 4 teams that have everything completely wrapped up heading into the final week of the season. Then you have a handful of teams that need to win for varying degrees. Ravens need to win their division. Bengals need to win. Steelers, it depends on what happens. If the Ravens win, the Steelers could then be in that first category of teams that have absolutely nothing to play for because their scenario is locked in. The Broncos, if they win, they're in the postseason. And then we're kind of getting to some, all right, you need some help. The Falcons need a little bit of help. The Dolphins need a little bit of help. The Lions and the Vikings, great game. They're both in the postseason, but obviously major implications. One team can be the 1 seed. One team will be the 5 seed. It's a lot riding on that game. You also have Tampa Bay. If Tampa Bay wins, they are going to win their division. If they lose and Atlanta wins, then Atlanta's going to win their division. And then you got some teams that already have everything clinched. And right now we're just simply arguing seeding. But the Rams are not concerned with seeding. The Rams could get the 3 seed if they want to. They obviously need some help in order to do it, but the Rams could get the 3 seed. The Rams do not care about the 3 seed. We're happy to take the 3 or the 4. We just want to make the postseason, and Sean McVay has made it very clear that he doesn't plan on playing this week and that he is going to sit this week out. So you could put the Rams in the first category if you want, put them in whatever category you are, but the Rams have told you pretty clearly where they stand. The Packers have everything clinched. They can either be the 6 or the 7 seed. The Commanders also have everything clinched, and they could either sit or play. The Chargers are also in that category as well, depending on if they could get the 5 seed. They obviously can't win their division anymore at this point. Rob, we're looking at half of the National Football League that either doesn't have anything to play for, or they are simply playing to either be the 3 or the 4 seed, the 6 or the 7 seed. I just don't know if expanding the season out already to 17 games, talking about doing it again to try to get us to the 18, I just don't know if it's made the NFL a better product. Sure, it has made the players more money. It has made the owners more money. Who's playing fantasy football this week? Are you putting big money down on the outcomes of these games this weekend in the league? It's just too much uncertainty, too many backups. I just don't know if the NFL is a better product by expanding the season out.
And it's not going to get better because they are going to 18 games sooner rather than later. If you made me bet, I think by the next presidential election, we're going to have 18 games in the NFL. It is coming. And yet here we sit getting ready for an NFL weekend on January 4th and 5th, and we are saying it's mostly unwatchable because none of the games really matter. Like, the matchup on Sunday Night Football is enormous. It's great. It's 2 good teams. The 1 seed's on the line. But, I mean, the loser is still in. There is no win or go home energy. The Falcons and the Bucs are battling, but the scenarios play out where if the Bucs win, it's over. No need to sweat the Falcons game. Take care of business and you win. And by the way, they're playing, I believe, the Saints, who stink. So yeah, put that game in that first it matters category. But in reality, it doesn't. We kind of know the outcome, similar to last week when the Bucs thumped another hapless team at home. It just, the NFL gave us more and more and more, and they sold us on more playoff teams, more games, more parity, more excitement. And we're about to watch a whole weekend of football, and the average football fan cares about one game. They care about Sunday night because that's going to be a big one. But if there wasn't a snowpocalypse coming to Kansas City, I would encourage you to run errands, get the Christmas decorations down, do some yard work. I would encourage you to do something else on Sunday if you were available to, because the actual football on television is going to feature a lot of backups. Like, I just saw come across, James Palmer retweeted it, Tua might not even play. So if you have the Dolphins in the first, they could make the playoff category. They're not making the playoff with Snoop Huntley. I mean, it's bad what has happened, but you're right. You said at the beginning of this segment, and you couldn't be more correct. The only thing the NFL cares about is how does our product rate on television? And I promise it'll rate well this weekend, despite the games meaning very little.
Yeah, 100%. People are absolutely going to watch it. Sunday Night Football is going to get a big number. I would just argue for Sunday Night Football, there's 2 teams that play in the same division. You didn't add any divisional games in the addition to the NFL season. So the Lions and Vikings were going to have to play each other a second time at some point in the season anyway. And you usually try to schedule division games at the end of the season. Someone on the text line says, I'll watch NFL regardless of the scenario. Well, trust me, if that is what you were into this weekend, they got boatloads of it for you to watch, because there is certainly a lot of it. If you were excited to see Taylor McKee go up against Mac Jones in a game, trust me, they have it available on CBS and also Fox. There are a handful of teams, though, that still have a lot to play for this Week 18. Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Mo Edgar. He is our guy for ESPN 1530 out in Cincinnati. Mo, it's always great to have you on the show today, man. We appreciate you. Let's start with this. You are in Cincinnati. You are as plugged in as anybody covering the team. How are fans feeling watching this Bengals team heading into the final week of the regular season?
Well, it's weird because a month ago nobody ever would have imagined that they would go into the final game of the regular season with a chance. I think this is a team that, understandably so, a lot of people wrote off about a month ago. But, lo and behold, here they are. They've won 4 games, frankly, for the most part, 4 games they were supposed to win. They've won games in weird fashion over the last month or so. And so I think there's, first of all, slight disbelief that Week 18, the Bengals, who were left for dead 5 weeks ago, are playing a meaningful football game. I still think there is an understanding that the least likely outcome is that this team is playing next weekend. I think most people understand how this works. First of all, they have to go to Pittsburgh and beat a team tomorrow night that scored at will against them when they played in Cincinnati. And then you need help from the Kansas City Chiefs, who have no real incentive to play for anything. They're going to play their backups. And they need help from the New York Jets, which is a dicey proposition, even if you consider the Miami Dolphins are going to play a backup quarterback themselves. And so, each of those things can happen. The Bengals can win. The Chiefs can win. The Jets can win. Will all of those things happen? There's a reason why, if you look at most major sports books and bet that free team parlay, the odds are plus 1,800. It's not likely. And I think most people here understand that. Then you find the conspiratorial folks among us who will tell you, well, the Chiefs, they don't want the Bengals in the postseason. They're going to lay down. They're afraid of playing Cincinnati maybe in round 2. I don't believe any of that stuff. But you will find no shortage of those folks who think the Chiefs have it out for them. And there's no way in hell that Andy Reid is going to do anything that helps the Bengals advance past Week 18.
Mo, maybe this is me being a homer, and you know what? I can live with this. There's no way that people in Cincinnati think that the Chiefs in any way are going to influence or affect what they're doing because of the 7 seed in the AFC playoffs. That you got to also think ahead. Let's say that Cincinnati ends up making the postseason. That means they have to go on the road and beat Buffalo next week before we even get to this conversation. There's no way that people in Cincinnati really think this.
The majority of people know. Do I know those people who feel that way? Yes. And look, I certainly believe that if you had your choice, let's say you're the Buffalo Bills, forget the Chiefs for a second, and you had your choice. Who can come to town? Who can we play Week 1? The Miami Dolphins and whoever their quarterback is, a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix, or Joe Burrow. I know if I'm a Bills fan, I don't want to see Joe Burrow in my building 2 years after he came to Buffalo and blew out the Bills. So I understand that perspective. I guess if I'm a Chiefs fan, I go, okay, well, if the Bengals go to Buffalo, one of those 2 teams is going to be eliminated before we have to even worry about them. I have seen people here, and look, again, it doesn't represent the majority. I have seen people here suggest, well, the Chiefs, they're afraid of Burrow coming to Arrowhead Stadium. And I go, look, dude, they've developed a fun series, fun rivalry. They played a really interesting game Week 2. The Bengals came this close to winning it. I'm not sure a team that has won 3 of the last 5 Super Bowls is really afraid of anybody. And I think they would welcome the challenge of playing that Bengals defense. Oh, and by the way, they wouldn't play them Week 1 because the Chiefs aren't going to play. So I don't believe that that's a factor. And look, the Chiefs have earned the right to play the final game of the season however they wish, use their personnel however they wish. And if the Bengals didn't want to be at the mercy of needing a team that doesn't have anything to play for to win its final game, then they should have taken care of business against the Chiefs Week 2 or against the Patriots Week 1, or they should have won any number of the home games that were there for the taking that they didn't win. And so you get what you pay for in sports, you get what you pay for in life. The Bengals have bought the opportunity to win a game and then watch nervously. If they win tomorrow night, which is a big if, watch nervously to see if the Chiefs and Jets can hold up their end of the bargain.
Right now, we're talking to Mo Edgar with ESPN 1530 in Cincinnati. Anytime we've got a Bengals topic, he's our go-to guy, friend of the show. All right, I guess answer the question of why. For a team that is 6th in points scored this year, for a team that has a quarterback who is playing at an MVP level, why is Cincinnati potentially going to miss the postseason?
Because the defense for most of the season has been atrocious. Now, it has played better the last month, because it's been presented a steady stream of Will Levis, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Cooper Rush, and a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix last week, who certainly had his moments, but often in that game played like a rookie. But prior to that, when they played any sort of credible quarterback, they were carved up. They were carved up by Jane Daniels week 2. They were carved up twice this season by Lamar Jackson. They were carved up at least in the first half of their game against the L.A. Chargers and Justin Herbert. They were carved up to the tune of 42 points against Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers. This defense has been abysmal. I think, look, if we are talking next week about how the Bengals are getting set for the offseason, I think it represents one of the great failures in recent NFL history because Joe Burrow is having, statistically, an MVP caliber season. He has put this franchise on his back all year long. He is asked every week to overcome a bad defense, a shaky offensive line, at times some shaky coaching. He is asked to perform miracles, and for the most part, he has done so. He hasn't been perfect, but if you look at those numbers and you watch him week to week, that is a bona fide MVP candidate, and he's not going to win the award. I don't think he's going to win the award if they make the postseason, but he has virtually no chance of winning the award if this team is not in the postseason. That represents an enormous failure. It's not a stretch to say that the Bengals organization and the Bengals team on the field has cost Joe Burrow a chance to be the NFL MVP. That is a massive, massive failure.
Mo, what happens at the end of the season to T. Higgins, who was incredible last week?
You know, if you would have asked me that question a month ago, I would have said he'll play out the season this year. It'll be emotional. Everybody will say all the right things, and then T. Higgins will hit free agency and see what happens. I think the likelihood now, though, is that he comes back and plays for the Bengals next season. You know, after the Dallas game, what was that, December 9th, Joe Burrow talked after the game about the necessity to bring T. Higgins back. He has doubled down on those comments multiple times. And this week, I think was as emphatic as he has been, regarding the topic, talking about, look, you can't make a living as an organization continuing to let really good players leave, which this team recently has suffered from, letting Jesse Bates leave, letting DJ Reader leave. Now, he has stated his desire to play with T. Higgins next year. He has also sort of hinted at things like, maybe I'll restructure my contract. Maybe we have already figured out a way that we can make this happen financially so that it doesn't necessarily hamstring the Bengals as it relates to making the rest of their roster better. I think he has rather deftly kind of played the public against the Bengals while making it known what he wants. And I think, and I could be dead wrong about this, that now the most likely outcome is that T. Higgins is a Bengal next year. What does that look like financially? I think it's a good question. I think there's been also a little recalibration of T's value. You know, he was awesome last week, and statistically he's a very good player. But he's not a number one wide receiver. We know what a number one wide receiver looks like. He's on the opposite side of the field, Jamar Chase. T. Higgins is a really high-end number two wide receiver, and so I think maybe what has happened here is there's been a little recalibration of what T's value on the open market would be. Would there be a team willing to pay him bona fide number one wide receiver money? Sure. But I'm willing to bet the consensus around the league is, you know what, he's not a Jamar Chase. He's not a true number one. He's really, really good in the role that he's in Cincinnati. And so why leave that role in Cincinnati if you're T. Higgins? And the other thing to consider here is T. Higgins' old agent never got a deal done with the Bengals. Didn't get a deal done with Jesse Bates. Hadn't got a deal done with T. Higgins. That agent is no longer representing T. Higgins. T's new agent is Jamar Chase's agent. I think that's something definitely worth considering. I don't think it's a slam dunk by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're asking me, what would I wager on? T being a Bengal in 2025 or T playing for one of the other 31 teams, I'd say T is in Cincinnati next year.
That is our guy Mo Edgar joining us on the show. He is a friend of the show. He is with ESPN 1350 out in Cincinnati. If the Bengals miss the postseason, they will have nobody to blame but themselves. In no way, if you're a Bengals fan, can you be looking at Kansas City, hey, you guys need to play Patrick Mahomes. You guys need to play Travis Kelce. No, that's not the way this works. When you take care of your business in the regular season the way that Kansas City did, you get to handle the final game however you see fit. So if Kansas City wanted to play Patrick Mahomes, if they want to play Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, Trent McDuffie, whomever, that's their business. Cincinnati, you had the same chance as everybody else in the NFL to make the postseason, and you squandered it. Why Cincinnati will miss the postseason is they open the season at home against New England. Imagine if at the very beginning of the season, you get to go meet with the commissioner of the NFL, and he tells you, all right, pick any game that you want in the National Football League. You can pick Chiefs at home, Chiefs on the road, Lions at home, Lions on the road. You tell me who you want week 1 of the NFL season. A home game against the Patriots would have been one of the more popular picks in the National Football League. They lost to that team 16-10. They lost to that team 16-10. Cincinnati at no point this season has been over 500. No, if you miss the postseason, that is a you problem why you missed the postseason. You don't get to pawn that off on anybody else on why you missed the postseason. So we'll see what happened with Cincinnati. Can they take care of their own business? Are they going to be in a position to make the postseason? But I don't want to see anybody from Cincinnati, no Bengals, no coaches, no fans, nobody. You don't get to point fingers at the rest of the league when you lost a home game to the New England Patriots earlier this season. That's why you guys missed the postseason. I want to tell you guys a story very, very quickly about a player. His name is Byron Murphy. So Byron Murphy plays for the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm sure you guys have heard of this before. They do a little rookie hazing, a little rookie dinner, you know? I'm sure you've heard of this. They do a little rookie hazing, little rookie dinner. So he took the defense out. Hey, you know what? It's on me, man. Ball out, man. Have a great meal. Have a great time, man. I'll cover it, you know? Well, Rob, they pulled a prank on him. The prank was when they handed him the receipt, and this is a common prank in the NFL, the tab was $155,000, and they recorded his reaction. Obviously, he's going crazy. $155,000? What kind of tomahawks were we eating? What kind of wine were we drinking? $150,000? You could have put a down payment on a beautiful home for that kind of money. He's freaking out. Well, you guys know how this story ends. The restaurant's up on the ruse. They're up on the joke. And then they come out and they bring them the real receipt. Let's play a little game really quickly, folks. Rob, how much do you think that receipt was? If the fake receipt was for $155,000, how much do you think the actual bill was for?
I mean, it's still going to be a big number, like a number that the average person can't fathom. I'm going to say, how many people do you take? We got the whole defense. 10,000?
$38,000. Yo, what kind of meal were y'all having where if you're telling me the fake price was $150, but they really hit you for the $40? Now, I hope that includes tax and gratuity and the 20% and all that kind of stuff. What were you guys ordering? How many people would you have to get? Rob, $38,000? What kind of liquor were you guys ordering? Because I'm telling you, Don Julio himself would have to be making the tequila in the back for me to give you $38,000 for this meal that we just had. I better meet Captain Morgan for $38,000 if that's what we plan on doing. I want to meet Mr. Patron himself. What kind of cows were you guys getting these steaks from that they hit you for $38,000 for a meal? I got to start seeing some numbers here. So they actually posted the receipt. I can show you the receipt. They posted the receipt. I got to really go through and I got to itemize this. I feel like you got took. I feel like you got had, swindled, bamboozled, led astray, run amok. This is nasty work is what I just saw. $38,000 for a dinner with your teammates. This is why these athletes go broke. This is why. 38? You could have bought something a little better than that. You could have bought a chain or something. $38,000, you could have got way better bang for your buck on the experience. You spent that at Ruth's Chris? You spent that at Capitol Grill? Okay, good luck. Hey, you got it, man. Shout out to Byron Murphy, who plays for the Seattle Seahawks. All right, coming up on the other side, we're going to talk a little bit of college football and kind of recap this week in the sport as we have things narrowed down to the final 4 teams. We're also going to give you a parlay. Going to do it a little bit different this week. We're going to give you 1 game parlay, so 2 teams. We're also going to give you 2 player props to create a parlay. That's all coming up. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Alex Gold, and since I'm the single guy here at the station, yeah, I know.
Wow, how surprising.
They're having me read this promo about Instagram. You probably didn't even know we had an Instagram, right?
Hello, Instagram followers.
But now you do. So do me a favor and go follow us at TheFan965. Win tickets, get behind-the-scenes content from the station. Plus, watch videos like Chiefs Take Tuesday and Best Bets on Sundays.
100%.
You're listening to your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
So the college season is wrapping up, so is the pros. And I know you're looking for a place to grab yourself a cold drink, some great food specials, and you want to be sure that you don't miss a second of the action. Well, let me tell you about the perfect place. It's with my friends over at The Other Place. With 5 locations all around the metro, it is the perfect place to stop in, grab a drink, and catch the game, especially when they have great specials. They have a 14-inch 2-topping pizza for $12, 8 wings in a basket of tots for $12, and $4 domestics. If you're looking for a one-of-a-kind game day experience and the best game day atmosphere when watching football, well, look no further than my friends over at The Other Place.
I've got huge news for you. The countdown is on. Monday Night Raw is coming to Netflix. Starting January 6th, WWE Monday Night Raw will be live every week on Netflix. Live drama, live heroes, live action. The premiere episode on Netflix will feature some of the biggest names in WWE. John Cena, undisputed WWE Champion, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Bianca Belair. There's never been a better time to step into the ring and stream WWE Raw. WWE Monday Night Raw premieres Monday, January 6th at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Live only on Netflix.
So this new dose is, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
For 2 days only at Old Navy, get 50% off all pants for the family. Yep, 50% off all pants for the fam. Hurry in this Friday and Saturday to save big, only at Old Navy. Valid 1, 3, and 4. Excludes clearance, active jeans, sweatpants, knit leggings, and sleep.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Hey guys, it's C-Dot here to remind you to download the Odyssey app so you can listen to 96.5 wherever you are straight from your phone. You have the option to listen live, listen on demand throughout the day at your convenience, or you can listen to any of our original podcasts like Character Concerns and 249 Miles of College Football. Plus, if you're in Kansas City, you can listen to the play-by-play of the Chiefs game with Mitch Holtis, Danny Hughes, and our guy Kling. Download the free Odyssey app today and follow 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
Patrick Mahomes joins C-Dot every week during the season, right here on 96.5 The Fan.
All right, right, welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Friday. We have so much to get into. Coming up at the top of the hour, we are going to head to Detroit. We are going to head to Minneapolis. We'll get you ready for the biggest game in the National Football League, not just this week, but so far in the season. The Lions play the Vikings. The winner gets the 1 seed. The loser gets the 5 seed. And it is a massive game in the National Football League. Let's go through some of the contract incentives in the National Football League, because you guys know that these guys are heavily incentivized to go out there and put together a great year and put up some big numbers. Let's go through some of the key ones. DeAndre Hopkins needs 9 more catches to get to $250,000. He needs 140 receiving yards. That would also net him $250,000. He also needs 1 receiving touchdown to get to that $250,000. Geno Smith needs 185 passing yards to get to $2 million. Mike Evans needs 5 catches, 85 yards. That will get him $3 million. Kyler Murray, I actually like this. This is one of my favorite player props for the week. Kyler Murray needs 50 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown for $750,000. You know how many V-Bucks that can get you? You know how many maps on Call of Duty and XP you can buy with $750,000? Kyler Murray might not pass in the first half of that game. I'm running. You know how when you play flag football and you guys have it, hey, you got to call 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, but then after that, we can rush and then you can take off. Kyler Murray is going to be doing that exact same thing in the game. Cortland Sutton, Rob, for some reason, you love Cortland Sutton. He needs at least 82 yards this week to get himself an extra $500,000. Tony Pollard, he needs 83 yards to get $250,000. He needs 2+ rushing touchdowns, and that would net him $200,000. So just some of the contract incentives that are out there for guys to go out, perform, ball out, and play well in Week 18. Certainly something to keep in mind when you guys are scrolling the betting apps this weekend looking for something to do. All right, let's give you our parlay and get you ready for the final regular season week in the National Football League. I've told you guys this. I think the Chiefs line is too big. I would be interested in doing an alternate spread and getting that number down and getting it to where I could get the Chiefs at some plus money, but I'm going to leave it standard here. I'm going to take the Chiefs plus the 10.5. I think that number's too big. I'm not thinking that the Chiefs are going to win this game, even though I'm not against sprinkling a little bit of money that something crazy is going to happen this week in the National Football League, and the Chiefs end up winning a nasty 19-17 game. But I'm going to stay away from the money line. 10.5 is just too big of a number to me. I don't think the Chiefs get beat 31-17 in this game. Denver probably wins, but they win 20-13. They win 23-10 or 23-13. I think the Chiefs covered the 10.5. I'm going to take the Chiefs plus the 10.5. You can get that right now at -115.
First and foremost, our Friday parlay is brought to you by Twin Peaks Eats, Drinks, Scenic Views. Carrington, I'm going to take the Steelers plus 2.5. I know that they only have one thing to play for, and by kickoff, they could have nothing to play for. They are the late game on Saturday, and if the Browns lose to the Ravens in the early game on Saturday, the Steelers are basically locked in. They cannot win the division, but Mike Tomlin has a little bit of that Dan Campbell culture, MO. This is what we do. We play our guys. I did a quick search. I have not seen if they've announced they aren't playing the guys. I think because there's a chance they will, I think them plus money at home against the plus points at home, at home against the Bengals is the play. We just had Mo Edgar on the show. What'd he say? Any quarterback who's good this year has shredded the Bengals D. Russell Wilson might not be the 2012 Russell Wilson, but he's still a viable quarterback in the NFL. I don't know if he's the
Week 7 version of Russell Wilson anymore.
He's still better than the rum-dums that the Bengals defense has looked good against. He has a chance to shred that team at home. I like the Steelers plus the 1.5. You play that on our friends at FanDuel, it's plus 249, along with your Chiefs plus 10.5.
All right, so if that's a parlay that you guys are interested in, go out there and take it. Just trying to help you guys out. You know, I know Christmas beat you up, and they really do us a disservice, fellas, because you just get beat up by Christmas. Maybe you had, your kid's birthday somewhere in there, And next thing you know, 6 weeks from now, you got to be planning to get her something for Valentine's Day. You already got to be thinking ahead. You already got to start getting dinner reservations locked in. Fellas, we got to come together for this 45-day stretch where Santa Claus gets us and then Cupid cleans up on the back end and takes all your little coin, man. So we trying to help you over here, man. We trying to make sure we put a little bit of money back into your pocket. Let's talk a little college football here before we get back to the NFL. I want to play some audio from you guys from Paul Feinbaum. He was on SportsCenter, and you guys got to know the vibes by now at this point with Paul Feinbaum. Oh, he is heartbroken that the SEC, they've had a rough January. Here's Paul Feinbaum.
Let's say if Penn State beats Notre Dame and Ohio State beats Texas, the lone SEC team, we're talking about an all Big Ten final. We've had 3 all SEC finals since 2011. Alabama playing a big role in those. But this would really completely change the paradigm of college football that has been all about the SEC, particularly when Saban was at Alabama and then Kirby Smart going for a three-peat last year. Imagine if it's 2 Big Ten teams and the Big Ten is ruling the world. I'm not sure what we're going to do down here at SEC country, Christine, but hang our head.
You know what? I am willing to meet you guys in the middle and say that maybe I have viewed this playoff incorrectly. Now, I still think on a big picture sense, I do think I've been right about the college football playoff, but that's not the purpose of this segment. I want to tell you where I am willing to at least maybe meet some of you halfway on what the playoff is. Because I do think that we have seen a paradigm shift in some ways. One of my dear friends is actually a position coach at one of the top D2 schools, and we've been talking about this the last couple of days. Just it's been big on people that love college football. I think the shift that we've seen is the schools that were right there on the fringe, I think they have benefited most from the changes. Think about Ohio State's roster. Ohio State went out there and got one of the best quarterbacks in the transfer portal. He had a lot of success at K-State. He then transfers, so you were able to solidify your quarterback position. When you're looking for a running back in the transfer portal, you go pick maybe the best one in the SEC, so you go grab him. If you're looking for a spark on defense, you go get the top best defensive player available, one of the 5 best college football defensive players, you go get him from Alabama. I think what I have noticed in the shift in college football is it has not really closed the gap between the tier 3 and tier 4 schools from the top. Those schools are still as far away as they've ever been. It's put more teams at the top in contention. So it has spread out the talent from the SEC. Alabama can't hoard everybody anymore. Florida can't hoard anybody anymore. LSU, those programs at the top, where when you leave Alabama and you're looking for somewhere else to go, the school you go to is not Boston College. You go to another blue blood school. So it's made Notre Dame more viable. It's made Penn State more viable. It's made those teams better. So if the goal of the playoff from the average consumer is, hey, I know my team's not really going to have a chance. I cheer for a tier 3 kind of school. But I want to see new blood at the top and feel like it's wide open amongst those 5 to 6 schools, maybe 8 schools that really have a chance. And I'm just hoping that one year, let's say one every 4 years, we get one school that can make a magical run. You get an Indiana that can win their first 2 games in the tournament. You get an SMU that can go on the road and pull off an upset and go to a Oklahoma or go to a Notre Dame and able to pull off the upset. If that's the goal of this thing, sure. I think that's possible. In fact, I think a majority of that is happening now. Look who made the Final Four in college football. It's the Blue Bloods. If you're fine with this is what it's going to be like most of the time, it's just going to rotate amongst the Blue Bloods. It's going to rotate between the Texases and the Oklahomas and the Georgias and the Alabamas and the Ohio States. If it's going to rotate between the crop and you're cool with that, you just want new blood at the top, sure, you'll get that. One year you'll get USC, one year you'll get Miami, you'll get the teams that you've heard of before, and maybe, just maybe, one of those times it'll be somebody special. Okay, I can live with that. I do think that we have two great matchups in the semifinals, and I don't think that this would have been the 4-team playoff if we had done this last year. If that's the meeting in the middle point, okay. But don't get it twisted. The power structure in college football has not really changed that much. The kings stay the king. And they did not create a system so Alabama could be even with Vanderbilt. No, they're willing to be even with Michigan. They're willing to be even with Penn State. They are not interested in letting your favorite team into their little club. Look at the club that they've created this time. They let you have your fun in the regular season, and then when it got down to business and brass tacks, they have saved the chance to win for the teams with the biggest brands and the biggest markets. They got Texas, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Penn State the first time they did this thing. They are rolling in the money like Scrooge McDuck from DuckTales. Coming up at the top of the hour, we are going to get to the biggest game in the National Football League. Keep it right here. So drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
The NFL playoffs are right around the corner, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Because right now, new customers can finish this season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. There's so many ways for you to pick up that W with FanDuel. You can bet who's going to win the game. You also can bet on what players are going to score a touchdown and how many points your favorite team is going to score. All you need to do is use my promo code. Visit FanDuel.com/KFNZ to join today. This way, you'll be set up for the biggest games of the year. Remember my promo code, KFNZ, and have your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Kansas City, we know cold weather is no match for warm hearts. With over 2,000 people unhoused in and around the Kansas City area, 96.5 The Fan needs your help. Working with Unity Southeast and KC, they are in immediate need of your gently used warm winter coats and can drop off winter coats to any of the KC area Tide cleaners. Check out the Unity Southeast Warming Shelter's Amazon wish list at unitysoutheastkc.org or find links and learn more at 965thefan.com.
It's a Red Friday on 96.5 The Fan and the other place, especially with these great game day specials. 8 wings and a basket of tots for $12 plus $4 domestic OP cups. The other place, the next best thing to being at the game.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by the Missouri Air National Guard. Serve your community your way. Serve your country and build a brighter future with the Missouri Air National Guard. Top-notch training, tuition assistance, and bonuses up to $50,000. Missouri Air National Guard St. Joseph. Aim high. Find your path today. Go to ang.com/MO.
Welcome to your new home for Chiefs football.
Mahomes will throw again. Right side, a little bit of room, slings it sidearm into the end zone. Touchdown, Kansas City! A historic touchdown for Travis Kelce. His 77th touchdown reception. An all-time Kansas City Chiefs record, eclipsing the great Tony Gonzalez.
Welcome to 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Dusty Likens, and in case you didn't already know, I'm here to tell you that you can watch all the shows here on 96.5 The Fan across all our social media channels. That's right. If you want to see our smiling faces as we talk about the best sports fans and teams in the country, subscribe to our YouTube channel or watch on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. Wake up with us, eat lunch with us, and go home with us. Your home for Kansas City sports, 96.5 The Fan.
What's up, KC? It's Trent McDuffie. Catch the play-by-play all season long with Mitch, Danon, and Clean right here on your home of the Chiefs. 96.5 The Fan.
KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City in Odyssey Sports Station.
Welcome back into the drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. We're going to do something a little bit different. We usually wouldn't do this on a Red Friday, but we all can acknowledge that this is a different Red Friday from many of the ones that we've had. The biggest game in the National Football League is the Lions and the Vikings. We're going to get to that coming up in just a bit. This is one of the biggest regular season NFL games in recent memory. The winner is the 1 seed in the NFC. The loser is the 5 seed, and that means they could potentially have to go on the road for 3 consecutive weeks. There have only been 5 teams in the Super Bowl era who have made the Super Bowl, winning 3 straight road games. Your path is infinitely more difficult if you lose this game between the Lions and the Vikings. It is the biggest game of the NFL season. Let's get to it. Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Corey Woods. He covers the Lions for M Live in Detroit. Corey, man, happy to have you join us today, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you for the invite. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Let's just start with this, man. You have been through it with the Lions, all the highs, all the lows. There's been way more lows than there's been highs. What has it been like to cover this team for the last 24 months or so as they become one of the top stories in the league?
It's been incredible. I've been covering this team. I actually joined the Lions beat at the same time that Dan Campbell was hired as head coach, so I've been chronicling this uprising of this team under his leadership, and it's just been amazing. It started as a 3-13-1 team, and now they have back-to-back 12-plus win seasons, 12-win seasons back-to-back. Now they're 14-2, and which is a franchise best. And just to be able to see where they're at right now with all the chips on the line of this Sunday, this is what this city has been dreaming of. This is what Lions fans have been dreaming of. And it's just been a joy to watch, just to be able to see the city galvanize around this team.
You've obviously seen a lot of coaches in your time in Detroit around the Lions. When did you realize that Dan Campbell was different? When did you realize he was special?
I realized he was special during the introductory press conference. I know a lot of people have given him flack for, the biting the kneecaps and the aggression, but what I took from it was he sounded like a football player. He sounded like a guy that eats, sleeps, and breathes football, and it was a break of the norm from what we've seen in Detroit. You had Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn coming here, tried to bring the Patriot way, ultimately did not work. So under the new principal manager, Sheila Ford-Ham, they went and did the opposite. They went in a total different correction and brought somebody that was just a football guy. They had Chris Spielman in tow to bring in other people. So I thought from that introductory press conference, Dan Campbell was the guy. Did I see them going where they are right now? Absolutely not. I thought they would be a playoff team, but best in the league, or at least in the conversation of it, didn't see it this quickly.
Corey, I think a lot of us from the outside look at Dan Campbell as sometimes as the guy who's just a little bit too aggressive, but I will give him this. He is somebody who stands on his convictions and doesn't really care too much about the opinions from the outside. You are in the middle of it. How do Detroit Lions fans feel about it? Because you could argue that aggressiveness last year cost them in the NFC Championship game. Last week on Monday Night Football, the rest of us are saying, no, don't play anybody, and he plays everybody the full time. How do you guys kind of view his aggressiveness towards things?
It really depends on who you ask, but if you want to go with the majority of the people ride with Dan Campbell because grit and blue collar are pretty much the same thing, and that defines the city of Detroit. And they now have, you had the Red Wings, they were successful. The Tigers were successful at one point. The Detroit Pistons, you had the Bad Boys and the Going to Work. Those are all gritty blue collar teams. Detroiters were waiting for their football team to fit that mold, and Dan Campbell came in here and installed that culture and believed in it. Yes, sometimes fans may they may think that, hey, the aggression on the fourth downs may be a little bit too much. But at the end of the day, for the most part, people are riding and dying with this coach. Whatever he says is golden pretty much here to everybody. And, again, you've never seen the Detroit Lions as successful under any coach in, since the NFL championship era, so it's hard to knock what he's doing.
Right now, we're talking to Corey Woods. He covers the Lions for M Live Detroit, taking a look at the biggest game this weekend in the National Football League, the biggest game in the regular season between the Lions and the Vikings. All right, let's get to Sunday. Let's get to Sunday Night Football. What is the feeling around the defense right now? Because it looks like this Lions defense is leaking a lot of oil right now. They have been giving up a lot of points the last 6 to 8 weeks, and that's not a defense that you think you can win a championship with.
Well, yeah, we'll say this. The defense is definitely decimated. I mean, at one point you had as many as 16 guys on IR. They're still down a lot of starters. I mean, a minute ago, we just saw that Alex Anzalone has been upgraded to questionable, so that is a good sign. If he's able to, they're not going to trot him out there unless they feel that he's ready to go. They don't want to put themselves in a bad position and jeopardize them coming back for the playoffs. But, I mean, while this team has definitely been giving up a lot of yards, a lot of points, they've also found a way to manufacture turnovers, and that has been really key. This past Monday, Kirby Joseph finally got back on the board, picked up 2 interceptions. I think as long as this team can find a way to manufacture a couple of turnovers here and there, they'll be fine because they're going to start getting some of these pieces back right when they need them. You got Jalen Reeves maybe back. Alex Anzalone's on the way. Still don't know about Carlton Davis just yet, and it looks like if they're able to get to that Super Bowl, Aiden Hutchinson should be on track to come back.
That's why I feel like, at least in this game, it's obviously really important for both sides. But it feels like this game is a little bit more important for the Lions just because of that rest factor that you said. This Lions team is running on fumes, in my opinion, and that's why I'm surprised that Dan Campbell played it the way that he did in Week 17, knowing that you had a week that you could really sit a lot of key pieces. If the Lions get this, you get 14 days to get right and get ready, and you got 2 home games potentially to go to the Super Bowl. It's going to be really difficult for any team to go into Detroit, especially with that fan base, knowing they got a home game for a chance to win the Super Bowl. It's going to be tough for anybody in the NFC to go in there and win.
Look, I bought earplugs last year, and I still have those same ones. When I put them in my ear for that first wild card game against the Rams, they did nothing. I just went ahead and just said, okay, let me just go ahead and toss these. They're not doing anything. That I have never in my life heard a building that loud. If you telling me right now that the Detroit Lions have a chance to host an NFC championship game inside of Ford Field, regardless of whatever team they face, that is going to be quite the hornet's nest to come in there and play. It will be deafening.
Corey, give me your Lions win-if scenario. Give me your Vikings win-if scenario.
I think the Lions win as long as – here's the key thing. The Lions cannot get out to a slow start. We've seen them when they played the Buffalo Bills. They were able to, trade blows eventually. And, even though the final score looked close, the game was not that close. And that was because the Lions had some empty possessions to start the game. As long as they get out to a hot start and don't have any empty possessions, I believe that is going to be key for them. For the Vikings to win this game, again, right there what I said, you got 2 high-powered offense. If the Vikings can stifle the Lions early and, get them on a couple of empty possessions, you have a weakened Lions secondary with Carlton Davis out, and you got a rookie Terrion Arnold that has been racking up penalties, a little bit handsy. You get them in trouble a little bit early and get Addison, Naylor, Hawkinson, and Jefferson where they need to be. I think the Vikings can win that way.
Hey, can you help me understand here, Corey, and last thing here, can you help me understand how a quarterback can have 36 touchdown passes, 10 interceptions, completing 70% of his passes, has a passer rating of 113, yet has no chance of winning the MVP, even though his team could be the 1 seed? Jared Goff and Sam Darnold should both be getting way more consideration for the award than they are.
I've been racking my brain to figure that out myself. I mean, understood, yes, Jared Goff threw 5 picks in that game against the Houston Texans, but since that game, he's only thrown 1 interception. And even if you want to look at the context of those interceptions in that game against the Texans, about 3 of those were not his fault. Even though they still count, 3 of those are not his fault. But to the point, I don't understand how this guy is playing the best football of his career, playing arguably some of still the cleanest football in the NFL, has the league's second highest passer rating, and he's not in the conversation for the MVP award. It's mind-boggling. If you don't have him as your favorite, okay. Not in the conversation, disrespectful.
That is Corey Woods joining us on the show. He is with M Live Detroit covering the Lions. They got a massive game this weekend as they play the Minnesota Vikings. Corey, man, great stuff, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks again. Hopefully we're talking when it's a Lions Chiefs.
Absolutely, man. Let's do it. That is Corey Woods joining us on the show. You heard the Lions perspective. Let's go to Minnesota, and let's get the Minneapolis perspective from our guy Henry Lake joining us on the show. Lake, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, C-Dot. Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year to you as well. We were just talking about this with Corey, who covers the Lions. I've been kind of banging the drum for this week. I think that Sam Darnold is being completely left out of this MVP conversation. He has more passing yards than Josh Allen, has more total yards than Josh Allen, more touchdown passes, has a higher completion percentage, a higher quarterback rating, and his team has more wins, and yet you're telling me that Josh Allen has already won the award. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I just listened to the end of that interview, and you guys were spot on. I think right now what we're really talking about is name recognition, right? Like, people are throwing, Joe Burrow in the conversation. Josh Allen clearly is a candidate. Lamar Jackson, who's won a couple of MVPs already. When you look at the Jared Goffs and the Sam Darnolds, you would expect them to get some love, but I just think that it's one of those things where people look at those guys and they acknowledge that they've had good seasons, but it's just not that they're sexy names. I think that it just boils down to that.
Right now, we're talking to our guy Henry Lake, taking a closer look at Lions and Vikings, the biggest game this weekend in the National Football League. All right, Lake, let's start with this. How did we get here? Because the Vikings over-under, I believe, was at 6.5 to kick off the season, and yet now they have a chance to win 14 games and be the 1 seed in the NFC. How did we get here?
Well, it starts with Sam Darnold. I don't think that anybody expected Sam Darnold to play to the level that he's played at, clearly, right? Like, when you look at the Minnesota Vikings coming into the season, you knew you had the best wide receiver in football in Justin Jefferson. You knew that you had an upgrade at running back with Aaron Jones coming in from Green Bay, and you knew you had a good, solid offensive line. Now, defensively, you felt good about the defense because of defensive coordinator Brian Flores, but you didn't know that Andrew Van Ginkel would be as good as he's been, that Jonathan Grenard would make the Pro Bowl. You didn't know that all the pieces that you added in free agency would be as good as what they've been. When I looked at this team coming into the year and I saw that number, I actually felt like they might go under because I just didn't really believe in all of the pieces kind of meshing and coming together. But I'm like everybody else. I was absolutely 100% wrong, and they've been outstanding. And I do think that one of the things that you have to say, C-Dot, is the fact that Kevin O'Connell has to be viewed as one of the maybe top 5 or 6 coaches in the NFL right now.
Lake, if we're looking forward, what do you think the plan is with Sam Darnold? Let's say that the Vikings have a good end to the season but don't win the Super Bowl. Let's say they lose in the NFC Championship game. What do you think happens with Sam Darnold? Is he back next year? Is it a franchise tag and trade situation? Could they trade J.J. McCarthy? I think the Vikings quarterback situation is going to be one of the top storylines of the offseason.
Agree with you 100%. And I would guess that they're going to look at franchise tagging Sam Darnold. I know that this has been a phenomenal season. I'm not sure that they look at him as a guy that they want to extend for maybe 2 to 3 years, specifically with a couple of different things. Number one, you got J.J. McCarthy. What are their feelings about him coming off of missing this year with the torn meniscus? And then secondly, what was the reason behind grabbing Daniel Jones? Was it just as insurance for if something was to happen to Sam Darnold this year and they're going to look to move on from him? Like, what did they do? They see something there? Is that a guy that they feel like they can develop and mold? But I do believe that the plan would be, or at least I would go with, franchise tagging Sam Darnold and running it back for another year.
Yeah, that's what I would end up doing as well. Like, you kind of have a little bit of time that you can buy. You can franchise tag Sam Darnold. You make him the starter next year. If he balls out, great, and then you'll figure out what to do with J.J. McCarthy. If this is a one-season kind of fluky scenario, you bench Sam Darnold next year. You got J.J. McCarthy. You give him the opportunity, and you go from there. Like, the franchise tag allows the Vikings to have another year to evaluate if this is real or not with Sam Darnold.
I agree with you 100%. And the funny thing is I've seen a few people have kind of thrown out, well, because this quarterback class is rather light, would teams be interested in going after J.J. McCarthy in a trade? I don't know how you could get back a first-round pick with J.J. McCarthy right now, just coming off of a torn meniscus. I mean, if that's a possibility, if you could recoup a high pick for J.J. McCarthy, then I'd maybe ponder doing that. But right now, I think that the best play is what you just stated. Go ahead and get another year of looking at Sam Darnold and just kind of, playing it that way.
Right now, we're talking to Henry Lake here for a couple more minutes. Like, I'm wondering if the Vikings have ever had a regular season game this big. I understand they've had some playoff games. You know, back in 98, they had a chance to go to the Super Bowl, and that was one of the best regular season teams that we've seen. I don't know if the Vikings have had too many regular season games that even come close to the magnitude of this one.
No, I agree with you again, man, because I asked that question on the show earlier this week. I was like, this is the biggest regular season game for the Minnesota Vikings since when? And we really could not come up with an answer to that question. Now, clearly, in the postseason, that's a totally different situation. But in the regular season, this is big time. And what's so kind of, I think, a little bit frustrating is the fact that you don't win this game, you don't end up with, a high seed still. You're going to fall all the way to like the fifth seed. So it's all or nothing from that perspective. And it's going to be interesting to see how things really play out on Sunday in terms of the matchup, because Detroit's been so good offensively, but people kind of question if they're going to be able to hold up in the playoffs because of their defense having so many injuries. But yeah, no, without question, this might be the biggest game for a regular season game for the Vikings since we've ever seen this organization be in existence.
Like, give me your Lions win if scenario. Give me your Vikings win if scenario.
Lions win if Sam Darnold turns the football over. We've seen some situations where Sam Darnold has been prone to, have the sack fumble, where he's thrown a couple of interceptions. If he turns the ball over a couple of times, I think the Detroit's able to get that victory. The Minnesota Vikings, they get this victory on Sunday, and I do believe that they will win just because their defense is in much better shape than Detroit. Do I think it's going to be potentially a shootout? Could be. I just think that the Vikings, because of health, are going to be able to get one or two more stops than the Detroit Lions are able to get.
That is our guy, Henry Lake, joining us on the show today. Very happy to get his thoughts as we head into the biggest game of the NFL regular season between the Lions and the Vikings. Great stuff, Lake, as always, man. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and I hope it's going to be Chiefs and Vikings in the Super Bowl.
You know what, man? I would like that as well, man. That is our guy, Henry Lake, joining us on the show today. Always happy to catch up with him, man. Always happy to get his perspective on what's happening in the National Football League. Let's get back to the Kansas City Chiefs, because I think this game is important in a different kind of way. Obviously, it does not matter if the Chiefs win or lose this game, right? Like, they got the 1 seed clinched. The key starters are resting for this game. I do think that this game is really important for Carson Wentz. Now, for those of you that have been NFL fans for a long time, let's not forget there was a point where Carson Wentz was viewed as that guy. Carson Wentz has an almost MVP award at his house, and if he doesn't get injured, I do think that Carson Wentz wins NFL MVP that year. And you guys know how in the summer we love to just come up with hypothetical lists to discuss and argue things. That's what gets us through June and July with no football, just arguing about things. There was a time in which Carson Wentz was viewed as the top player in the National Football League under the age of 25. I pulled this up. I went deep into the crates. This was in 2017. They were debating this on NFL Live, if Carson Wentz was the most valuable player in the league under the age of 25.
They have Carson Wentz as the number one player in the league under 25. Agree? Disagree? Quarterback-driven league, Teddy.
It is.
It's quarterback.
I mean, what Wentz has done this year, I can see how everyone would look to him right now. I agree with it.
Yeah.
Spectacular player, leading the Eagles to the best record in the league.
Listen, if you were to have this list last year, you could have made the argument that Dak Prescott would be number one and Carson Wentz would have been number 9. This year, Wentz and the Eagles are winning, so he goes 1, Dak Prescott's 9. Quarterback league, and both of these teams are set up for years to come.
If you want to look at a current player in the league and have the what-if conversation, Carson Wentz is at the top of that list. There's a handful of guys that are there. Odell Beckham, Carson Wentz. We can go through the what-if scenarios. Carson Wentz was playing like and looked like a franchise quarterback. He got injured and never recovered. He has never been the same quarterback post-injury that he was pre-injury. So let's not get things twisted like the Chiefs are not starting a capable starter and a guy that can go out there and make some plays. He is a better quarterback than Chase Daniel. He is a better quarterback than Blaine Gabbert. We are talking about if Carson Wentz is healthy. I don't know why he wouldn't be healthy for this game. This is a guy that can go out there, even with the, quote, limited options that the Chiefs are going to have, and could throw for 250 yards, could throw 2 touchdowns, and could help guide them to a victory on Sunday against the Denver Broncos and ruin Christmas and New Year for everybody in Denver. He's capable of doing that. And not just for an individual game basis for Carson Wentz, he can make himself a lot of money for next year by playing really well in this game. Maybe he's not back in Kansas City as the backup quarterback. Maybe there's a team out there that views him as a one-year stopgap. Why couldn't he be Gardner Minshew? Why couldn't he be a Tyrod Taylor, a guy who comes in, he competes with the young guy, and if the young guy beats him out, okay, you got a quality backup, or he starts for the first 7-8 games of the season, and then you see what you got. That is very, very much in play for Carson Wentz, especially if this quarterback class is going to be as weak as people think that it is. If you don't believe me, listen to conversations they're having in New York. They think that Carson Wentz could start for them next year.
They're going to find themselves in a really weird situation because as I was looking over the list of quarterbacks, let's face it, they're not trading up to get somebody and giving up half their draft in next year's first round. I would not do that. No, not for any of these guys. I mean, like I think that they can play in the league. I just don't think that they're worth these high picks. No matter how desperate you are for a quarterback, go out and find somebody else. Go out and find a Carson Wentz. Go out and find a Kirk Cousins. Go find somebody that's going to be cheap and is going to be a stopgap, and worry about next year or the year after that. I don't see anybody on this board right now that is worth like what it would take to go up and get them, because people value that first or second overall pick because they feel like they need to fill a void at the most important position.
I'm telling you, Carson Wentz can make himself a lot of money by playing well on Sunday. We've seen this in Chiefs history. Albert Wilson made himself a lot of money by playing well. I would say last year, Mecole Hardman. Now, he didn't make himself a lot of money. I think he played himself on the roster. I think he gave himself a chance in the postseason by playing well in that final game of the year. He went out, he played well, and he caught the game-winning touchdown for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I understand from a fan perspective, not really riding hard for this Week 18 game. And if we are going through the level of importance that this game has, not just for the Chiefs but in the league, this is probably one of the weaker games of the week. But simultaneously, it's also one of the most important games of the week. I mean, the home team needs this game. Sure, if the Chiefs go out there and play well or poorly, you don't care, right? Like, you got bigger fish to fry. Like, the Broncos need to win this game. So the fact that Carson Wentz and some of these guys are going up against a team that you know is not going to lay down, if you play well in this game, man, that looks really good. I don't know if Carson Steele's going to be on the roster next year. I'm going to be advocating for the Chiefs to spend a little bit of resources in free agency to go get a running back. Isaiah Pacheco is going to be heading into his final year. So in my scenario, you could have Samaje Perine. You could bring Kareem Hunt back on a cheap deal. You could have Isaiah Pacheco, a drafted player. I don't know if there's a whole lot of room for Carson Steele. Man, you go out there and play well and have 15 carries for 81 yards, and maybe you're not on the Chiefs next year, but you're on another NFL roster next season. And for a guy who was an undrafted player who really didn't find a role on this year's team, that is certainly not the worst option or thing that can happen. Or you stick around in Kansas City, they move you primarily to fullback, and you're on the team next year. But guys are going to be getting very valuable reps, very important reps that really, really matter for this team. They really, really matter. All right, coming up on the other side, we're now going to take a trip to Denver, Colorado. The Chiefs, they still play this week. I know we're talking about Sunday Night Football, but the Chiefs play the Denver Broncos this week. The Broncos felt like they had this thing under control. I've been calling them a playoff team for the last month, and all they've done is lose games for the last month. How do we get to the point where the Broncos need to beat the Chiefs in the final week of the season to make the playoffs? We'll also learn a little bit more about Bo Nix in his first year and how the Broncos turn things around. That's coming up with our guy Josh Dover. That's coming up. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Fellas, it's the new year, and for many of us, this is a time to reflect and make some positive changes in your life. And if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction and you're tired of the frustration and embarrassment that it causes, it's time to pick up the phone and call Heartland Men's Health. Resolve your ED today, and at Heartland Men's Health, they have treatments that work when all your other options have failed you. And with a success rate of over 90%, you can see instant result. Do you remember the first time that this happened? You thought it was going to be a one-time thing, but then it happened again and again. But that's perfectly fine because there is a cure. This is a treatable problem if you just pick up the phone and call my friends at Heartland Men's Health. They have successfully treated men across the metro, and for just $100, you can get your initial visit, a medical consult, some tests, and a test dose. And if this doesn't work in the office, then your visit is on the house. So pick up the phone and change your life. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com with 3 locations around the metro to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right? And right now, your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. Good for you. That's cash that you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel, everything you want. The catch is, you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with the TrueHold Sell and Stay Leaseback program. This is a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to TrueHold while its value is high. You bank all that equity in cash now, and you can stay as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a TrueHold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993. That's 1-855-300-9993. Or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
You okay?
I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Attention small business owners needing financing. Are you frustrated with a slow process and high interest rate quotes from your bank? Then you need Swish Funding, the small business funding experts, where our simple application process takes just minutes with affordable funding as soon as one business day. At Swish Funding, we focus on your business cash flow, not your personal credit score. And we're ready to help with funding from $10,000 to $2 million. If you've been in business for 1 year or more with a monthly income of at least $25,000, you can get the affordable funding you need with no collateral. Swish Funding is providing funds for expansion, inventory, increased overhead, even slow cash flow to small businesses all over America. Restaurants, plumbing, landscaping, trucking, auto body shops, healthcare providers, and more are getting the funds they need fast. At Swish Funding, applying takes just minutes with funds in your bank account within 24 hours. Go to swishradio.com. That's SWISH radio.com. Swishradio.com.
Okay, so that's with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, grilled onions, ketchup, and hold the pickles.
You know what you like. You wouldn't order your burger just any way. Why should your sports talk be any different? With Chapters on the free Odyssey app, you can choose the topics that matter to you most. Whether it's reactions, matchup previews, injury updates, or team news, quickly find what you really care about. Your football talk, your way. Download the free Odyssey app and start listening today.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Two-car crash off to the shoulder northbound 35 at the 18th Street Expressway.
We do have a stalled car southbound 35 just before 7th Street Trafficway as well. But again, off to the shoulder, just a little distraction. From the Anthony Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing and Electric From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Rashee Rice. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Friday. The Chiefs are 10.5-point underdogs in their game against the Denver Broncos. Speaking of the Broncos, let's head to Denver right now. Be joined by friend of the show, Josh Dover, joins us on the show. Josh, how you doing today, my man?
I am good. Like you, Carrington, I'm fired up for a football Friday and a season finale that could end a awful drought here in Denver.
So let's just start with this, Josh, because for the last, I would say, 3 weeks or so, I've been calling the Broncos a playoff team. I felt like they had it in the bag. It was a shoo-in. How did we get to the point where now they need to beat Kansas City in the final week of the season to call themselves a playoff team?
Sean Payton, that's the answer, Carrington. It's Sean Payton, man. He is directly responsible for the Broncos' last 2 losses. The Chargers game and then in the Bengals game, the Chargers game and the Bengals game both had 2 things in common. He did not run the ball nearly enough despite having some success with their rookie running back, Audric Estime, out of Notre Dame. And then obviously in the Bengals game, what we've talked about now for about 10 days is why he didn't go for 2. Played for a tie, which was a 6% chance of a tie, and banking on that to go into the postseason. So the reason we're sitting here needing a win against the Chiefs in Week 18 for the Broncos to go to the postseason is because Sean Payton tried to get too cute and cost his team 2 games.
Yeah, I was looking at the game against the Chargers, and that was one that the Broncos have to be kicking themselves. I thought they were the better team in that game, and they just completely let that game slip away.
100%, man. Go back to that first drive. They ran the ball 7 times on that first drive. It resulted in 7 points. A lot of it was at Audric Estime, who I was just talking about. And then they ran it 14 more times the rest of the game. That again, is just on Sean Payton, not doing what works because he wants to show everybody how smart he is and what he has in his rookie quarterback in Bo Nix. So Bo has been worse than he has in the last couple of weeks. He's kind of reverted back to some bad footwork, kind of anxious stuff that we've seen out of Bo, but it's about running the ball, man. I don't know why I joke on my show that he's allergic to doing it, Sean Payton that is. I just don't know why he won't utilize something that's going to help a rookie quarterback, which is the running game, but he just won't do it.
So, Josh, let's talk about your rookie quarterback in Bo Nix. It doesn't sound like he's going to win Rookie of the Year, but he certainly is in the conversation to do so. I mean, that throw that he had a couple of weeks ago on 4th down to Marvin Mims is one of the best throws that I think we've seen this season in the league. He has been a fighter. He has been a gamer. He's been better than I thought he was going to be, at least in year 1. Certainly has a higher ceiling than I had anticipated. How do you feel about Bo Nix' rookie season?
Oh, I feel great, man. We were talking about it today on my show here in Denver, going over some of the numbers and quarterbacks from the past that he compares to. And he has work to do. Like I said, he's got room to grow with his footwork and making more of those deep shots connect, because you saw the beautiful one to Marvin Mims. We in Broncos country have seen about 948 of those miss to the rookie receiver in Troy Franklin. So he's got to get a little bit better at that, but he's accelerated this timeline, man, with what the Broncos are. This was supposed to still be a part of the rebuild, and I'm not going to yell and scream that they're out of the rebuild because they still need a lot of work on this roster, but he's accelerated that timeline. They could be a playoff team after this weekend if things go right against your Chiefs. And then next year is when I think they can really be a dangerous team behind Bo Nix. They're going to have a lot more money to spend in free agency. They're going to have all of their draft picks for the first time in a handful of years. So what he has done is come in and accelerated this rebuild timeline. He still has a lot of work to do, but I believe that he is the answer. He is the solution at quarterback that this team has looked for 9-10 years since Peyton hung him up. So I believe the best way to describe it is he's accelerated the timeline to get out of this rebuild, this world of suck that Broncos fans have had to live in.
Yeah, I always say that you have to take 2 jumps. You have to take a jump to where the Broncos are. They have been a bad team. They have now taken a jump to a good team. Now it's that jump from taking a good team to being a great team. This is kind of where the Houston Texans were. They were where you guys were last season. Got a quarterback, made a turnaround, made the postseason, kind of got people excited, made some trades, but they were unable to take that next jump. It sounds like you're optimistic about the Broncos heading into this offseason, that they can take that next step.
Yeah, I definitely am. And again, it's going to be with pieces around Bo Nix, him getting a little bit better. Going to be very curious to see how they handle the offseason, especially if they lose on Sunday. And I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities of what they would do with their defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph. Like, hey, does somebody have to fall on the sword? Certainly not going to be anybody that had New Orleans ties, because that's Sean's little binky, and that's always going to be around. So I think that's an interesting conversation on what it looks like on the defensive side. But I want continuity. No matter what happens in this Kansas City game, I'd love for them to come back with all the staff, the players add to that, and then take that next step. Some of it is Bo getting better. Some of it's Sean taking the training wheels a little bit off Bo so they can really be a powerful offense, because as good as the season's been and fighting for a 10th win this weekend, it's still been the defense that's the workhorse that does the heavy lifting for this Broncos team. So they got to get better offensively. Bo has to develop it and not take every damn check down, maybe challenge Sean Payton on his play calling from time to time. If those things happen, and continuity is the biggest one for me, they will take that next step and not stub their toe like Houston has.
Right now, we're talking to Josh Dover with Denver Sports Radio, just getting his thoughts on everything that is happening with the Broncos as they head into their game this weekend against Kansas City. There is actually only 3 games on Sunday that have playoff implications. The Broncos are one of those teams that have playoff implications. Josh, where does losing to the Chiefs the first time that these two teams played each other rank in your disappointment meter? You had to think that you had that game won. They were going to make that field goal and they were going to beat the Chiefs, and then you go from thinking they won the game to then watching Patrick Mahomes fly around like an airplane in a 15-second span.
Yeah, doing what he does at all times. I mean, it's heartbreaking, man. You still can't say the name Luke Wattenberg too loud in this city without someone pouring a beer on your head, because that was the guy that got blown up on that blocked field goal. So it was certainly heartbreaking. But I will say this. It's easy to say this now. The moment, obviously, our hearts have just been pulled out of our chests. But kind of going back to what you just said, C-Dot, it's these little steps of improvement. The Broncos are hanging with the Chiefs in these games that matter when the starters are playing. That's a big sign of taking a step in the right direction, because I hate to say this, but as you clearly know, it hadn't been like that. It hadn't felt like that or looked like that when those two teams shared the same football field. So it sucked. It ripped all of our hearts out. And like I said, you can't say that guy's name anymore, but it was, now that we're removed from it a few weeks, hey, this is a good sign that this is moving in the right direction.
I am curious to get your kind of reaction, I guess, feeling on what's happening in Denver, just being in Kansas City. Chiefs fans are already talking about the postseason, getting right, who we're going to play in the first round. Like, their mind is elsewhere. So it's very weird and very unusual for the NFL. One team is completely not focused on this game, while this game means everything to the other team. Like, this is the Broncos' first playoff game of the year. You win this, you advance, you play a playoff game next week. How is sort of the buzz and reaction to this game? You got the holidays, you got the new year. This game doesn't really mean a lot for Kansas City, but this is a really important game. And again, this is your first postseason game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 50-50 split. There is actually a group of fans here that are kind of overlooking the Chiefs already, thinking that this is in the bag. Oh, it's all the backups, even though it's not. And everybody's like, well, what's it going to look like in Buffalo? Is it okay if they just go to Buffalo and get their butts kicked like everyone thinks that they would? And then the other half, and this is kind of where I fall, is, hey, don't be overlooking the Kansas City Chiefs. They still have Andy Reid over there, who had a full week to game plan and scheme for this Broncos defense and Vance Joseph squad. So that's where I lean, and about the other 50% is. Let's make sure this gets taken care of, and then you can worry about what Buffalo may bring. But you're absolutely right that this is a playoff game. The fans here in town want to think that the Patriots game a year ago was really important, and they had won that game. Who knows what it means for playoffs and the Rush-Sean relationship, but that was all fake, man. We were standing on quicksand last year, and if we didn't move, we were going to die standing in that quicksand. So I think it's a really solid 50-50 split, which is really fun for sports talk radio, obviously, but I'm leaning more towards win this game. Do not overlook the Chiefs. Carson Wentz and Andy Reid can still beat you if you're not prepared. So, yeah, treat this as a playoff game, punch your ticket to the postseason, and then everything else after that is house money.
Last thing here, Josh. Does it even matter? I ask because do you think that Denver can do something in a couple of weeks? Like the way that it is lined up, Denver would go on the road to play the Buffalo Bills. You got a rookie quarterback going on the road to play a Bills team that has a de facto bye week this week. Does it even matter with Denver, or are you just happy to make the postseason and whatever happens next week happens?
Yeah, it's a little bit of the latter. Like, overall, does it matter if they're going to beat the Bills? No. You're going to go and you're going to see probably a double-digit spread for the Broncos in that game, and they have no chance, barring some crazy injury, which nobody roots for, to win that game. But it matters locally, and it matters inside of those walls down at the Broncos facility, because you can get a taste, right? You can dip your toe. You can get invited to the dance. And that matters for 2025. So then we don't have to have all of these, is the moment too big? Is Bo going to fall on his face in his first playoff appearance and matchup? So it matters for us locally inside of that organization, because then next year you've kind of got all of that out of the way. And hopefully they're in the playoffs again next year when you really can make some noise. So I get what you're saying. And overall, you're right. It doesn't really matter because they're going to get boat raced by the Buffalo Bills. But locally, and for the guys in that room and the people that believe in Bo, it matters a lot for him to just get that experience, taste it, see what it feels like, and then really be in position to make noise in 2025.
That is our guy, Josh Dover, joining us on the show today. He is with Denver Sports Radio, getting you ready for Chiefs and Broncos, one of the more important games of Week 18 in the NFL season. Josh, great talking to you as always, man. Happy New Year, man. We look forward to catching up with you in the postseason. I know that my team will be in the postseason. I'm still unsure if your team will be.
You and me both, man. Hey, I actually have a real quick question for you on the way out.
Yeah, of course.
With the Chiefs resting a couple of guys, how does that work with the referees? What's the agreement? What's the arrangement? I just don't understand.
Bye, Josh. I can't do that. Josh is my guy. He knows I can't do that. I can't have that kind of talk on this show. We've already had enough nonsense in this 3:30 segment. I'm going to add to the nonsense. Rob, I got a bone to pick with you, and you know exactly what the bone to pick is. You continue to try to stop us from taking that next level. I'm trying to compete with the Johnny Dares. I'm trying to compete with the Dana Wrights and the Scott Parks. And the reason this show can is because you're holding us back. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-353-9057. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-353-9057. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-353-9057. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-353-9057. 800-353-9057 or biglou.com.
The NFL playoffs are right around the corner, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Because right now, new customers can finish this season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. There's so many ways for you to pick up that W with FanDuel. You can bet who's going to win the game. You also can bet on what players are going to score a touchdown and how many points your favorite team is going to score. All you need to do is use my promo code. Visit FanDuel.com/KFNZ to join today. This way, you'll be set up for the biggest games of the year. Remember my promo code, KFNZ, and have your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement Kansas Art Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Hey, it's Alex Gold, and since I'm the single guy here at the station, yeah, I know.
Wow, how surprising.
They're having me read this promo about Instagram. You probably didn't even know we had an Instagram, right?
Hello, Instagram followers.
But now you do. So do me a favor and go follow us at TheFan965. Win tickets, get behind-the-scenes content from the station. Plus, watch videos like Chiefs Take Tuesday and Best Bets on Sundays.
100%.
You're listening to your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 137th and Metcalf in Overland Park on Friday, January 3rd. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. For more details, go to 965thefan.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law
Hey guys,
today.
it's CDOT here to remind you to download the Odyssey app so you can listen to 96.5 wherever you are straight from your phone. You have the option to listen live, listen on demand throughout the day at your convenience, or you can listen to any of our original podcasts like Character Concerns and 249 Miles of College Football. Plus, if you're in Kansas City, you can listen to the play-by-play of the Chiefs game with Mitch Holtis, Danny Hughes, and our guy Kling. Download the free Odyssey app today and follow 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
For 2 days only at Old Navy, get 50% off all pants for the family. Yep, 50% off all pants for the fam. Hurry in this Friday and Saturday to save big, only at Old Navy. Valid 1, 3, and 4. Excludes clearance, active jeans, sweatpants, knit leggings, and sleep.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 96.5 The Fan.
I got a bone to pick with Rob Brinton. Now turn the music off all the way. This is the bone I have to pick with Rob Brinton. Most of the time during the commercial break, I'm still here. Sometimes Rob and us are talking to each other and we're planning ahead for the show. Sometimes I'm looking up a stat. Sometimes I'm surfing social media to try to get more information about whatever topic we're going to do. Sometimes I'm on my phone. It's my personal time. Well, just a little bit ago when we had a commercial break, that was the time for me to handle business. Went out, got some water, walked around. I've been sitting down all day. Went to the bathroom. Me and Rob even exchanged a head nod. And that normally doesn't happen when we pass each other. Like, I just saw you. Why are we head nodding? It was like Rob knew something nefarious was about to happen. The text line only explodes for one of three things. Either I make a mistake and say something wrong. That happens, You say as many words as we do over the course of the show, over the week. Sometimes you say something wrong, text line. You guys love to correct me on something. Love to. It's your favorite thing to do. That's one of the reasons the text line will blow up. Number two is I say anything about Travis Kelce at this point. I could give you a 100% accurate stat. Hey, Travis Kelce had 41 yards. Well, it ain't the postseason. Okay. What I said's true. I don't know why you guys are so angry. That's number two. Let somebody curse. Oh, the text line, y'all go crazy. So I'm sitting here, and I want to give myself a lot of credit for my professionalism. I'm still sipping my water, and I just see the text line has exploded. And I'm like, well, I couldn't have said anything wrong. It was during the commercial break. I didn't do anything. I'm then thinking, we didn't talk about Travis Kelce. He's not even playing. Then I'm seeing it, and then I was then teleported back to when Robbie and I gave each other the head nod. It's like Rob knew. Rob. Just because it's a bye week for the Chiefs doesn't mean it's a bye week for you. I need you to be playoff sharp and playing your best football heading into the postseason. And my brother, you tried to put our employment on the line. I'm telling you right now, if I go down for this, I'm throwing you under the bus. I can't wait. They're going to have an investigation. Officer, it was him. Him who? Him. I'm pointing at him, too. I know where you live. I got your phone number, your address, pictures. I know a lot. I can't believe you would do that to us. You got anything to say for yourself? I need you to defend your... Why did you lock eyes with me and give me the head nod? Did you know?
You think I run traffic? I do a lot of stuff back here, buddy. There's about 19 jobs for this job.
We might need you to start running traffic.
we might have a new traffic soon.
We need you to start running traffic is what we need you to start doing.
All I know is I found out in real time, traffic's bad. It's got people heated. I was on the phone talking to Josh Dover. He was like, "Hey, how are things? Are you guys gonna do the playoff content again?" I was talking to Josh, and I'm like, "What happened?"
I know you didn't know because I'm asking questions to Dover, and there's a delay. So then when I look at the text line, everybody on the text line it was an explosion. I'm like, "Wait, what happened?" And I'm trying not to laugh, and I'm trying to focus, and I'm trying. It was tough. It was tough for me. So I don't know who to blame other than you. I don't know whose fault this is. All I know is the moral of this is it is not my fault. I didn't have anything to do with it. I don't touch traffic. It doesn't get emailed to me. I didn't see it. I didn't even hear what you guys could all be lying. I'm serious. You guys could be lying on the text line. But
I wish they were. I've gone back with some higher ups during Josh Dover's segment, I was out in the newsroom being like, "Yo, this happened."
That's why I was going to say, I could tell that you guys were not lying because once Rob saw the text line, I saw his eyes get big and then Rob left. Rob was just not here the last 15 minutes of the show. It was just me. It was just me and Josh Dover. Anything could have happened. We had just been here together. Josh Dover just could have hung up. I couldn't have had the ability to hang the phone up. I couldn't have done anything. I just would have been sitting here. You really tried to drown this show. Why would you do this?
If I recall, yesterday you told me no one's listening. I was talking to the people who work over at 98.1. I'm like, that's a new one for me. Hey, we've had Frank Clark audio on this show. We knew to edit Frank Clark.
Yeah.
I didn't think traffic on Southwest Boulevard would be, we gotta have this tightened up.
Have you driven down there before? Sometimes
Main Street, I get it. Main Street, I see it.
They've actually fixed Main Street up. Main Street's looking better. Main Street's looking better. It is. Text line 913-586. Hey, can you play it again? No, I'm not playing it again. Someone said I'm confused. I must have missed it. If you know what we're talking about, then you know what we're talking about. I'm not repeating it in any ways. The first time was enough. I got plausible deniability. Now if we play it again, I know. No, I don't got nothing to do with that. I ain't got nothing to do with me. Y'all not paying none of these bills I got. I'm not playing it again for y'all. No thanks. No, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I never heard it. Spectre, I didn't know. I'm telling you right now. Rob knew. Rob looked at me and he had a look on his face like he knew what was about to happen. I didn't know. I had nothing to do with it. All right, let's get back to very serious things. Nate Taylor's going to be on the show coming up in about 8 minutes or so. This is my question. A very serious question, not related to the traffic report. How would you handle Hollywood Brown? I only ask this because Hollywood Brown has only played 45 snaps this season. Now, DJ Humphries, he's playing in this. I think there's only 3 questions in this game. I think there's 3 questions. How well does Carson Wentz play? If Carson Wentz plays well, they will win this game, in my opinion. If Carson Wentz goes out there and throws for 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no picks, I think the Chiefs pull off the upset. I think they beat the Denver Broncos. I really do. I think they beat the Broncos. I think the Broncos will start to feel the pressure of the game, and I think they lose that game. So that's number 1. How well does Carson Wentz play? Number 2 is DJ Humphries. Does he play? What does he look like? We know he's going to play now. What does he look like? The third question is Hollywood Brown going to play? It's a good argument on both sides. If you're telling me, hey, he doesn't need to play, let's get ready for the postseason, I hear you. I won't push back. I would say he's only played 45 snaps. Maybe getting more time, more run is a good thing. But I don't think there's a wrong answer in how you handle Hollywood Brown. How would you do it if you were the coach of the team? I would play Hollywood Brown for the first quarter of the game. I would treat it like a preseason game for Hollywood Brown. Go out here, get a sweat, get some reps, and let's get ready for the postseason. I would play Hollywood Brown. How would Coach Britton handle it?
I'm torn on this, and here's why. Everything you're saying is accurate and correct, but the offense has looked and felt different since his return. And it is a fact of life about Hollywood Brown's NFL career. He is, on a scale of Iron Man to fragile, he is more on the fragile side. There's a fragility to him. The injury he had in Kansas City is unique, but being injured is not unique. Hollywood Brown has battled injury his NFL career. So everything you're saying, I understand. Yeah, I get him right, get him more reps, make sure he's at full go for the postseason. But am I going to risk Hollywood Brown, who has reemerged since his return to the lineup, made the Chiefs offense look more dynamic? Am I going to risk that for a game that means nothing? Am I going to risk that for a game that helps literally only Carson Wentz? And the Chiefs, and I know the NFLPA, and all those people want Carson Wentz to be good, and that's great, but Coach Britton doesn't care. Coach Britton cares about having the offense healthy and ready to roll for January 18th, and I don't know that having Hollywood Brown out there is worth the risk. It feels like a Justin Watson game, but I'm very on the fence about it, which is lame radio, but I would lean toward no because of his history of fragility.
Yeah, I mean, last year the Chiefs were in this exact same position, and they only played 4 wide receivers. McCole Hardman was their leading receiver, Justin Ross, Richie James, and Justin Watson. So they only had 4 wide receivers. They don't need Hollywood to play in this game. They could play 4 wide receivers, and it's just going to be a limited rotation. There were 8 guys that received targets in last year's Week 18 game. Noah Gray got a couple of targets. Justin Watson got a couple of targets. But for the most part, it was McCole Hardman, LaMichael Pirine, and Justin Ross. McCole Hardman got 11 targets in the game. So somebody's going to eat in this game. I don't know if they're going to do player props, but I would take one of those guys who probably has a small over-under and just, hey, somebody has to catch the passes that Carson Wentz throws in this game, and I'd weigh a little bit on that. We'll see if Hollywood Brown is one of those players that catches the passes. We'll ask Nate Taylor. He's coming up next. We'll get his thoughts as we head into the final regular season game for the Kansas City Chiefs. We got Nate Taylor coming in studio for the entire 4 o'clock hour. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic brought to you by Metro Ford, online at kcmetroford.com. Stalled car eastbound 670 just past Broadway Boulevard. It's got the right lane closed. And on the Kansas side, K7 northbound just past Harold Street, there's a collision that's a little bit of a distraction on the right shoulder. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford, online at kcmetroford.com.
So the college season is wrapping up, so is the pros. And I know you're looking for a place to grab yourself a cold drink, some great food specials, and you want to be sure that you don't miss a second of the action. Well, let me tell you about the perfect place. It's with my friends over at The Other Place. With 5 locations all around the metro, it is the perfect place to stop in, grab a drink, and catch the game, especially when they have great specials. They have a 14-inch 2-topping pizza for $12, 8 wings in a basket of tots for $12, and $4 domestics. If you're looking for a one-of-a-kind game day experience and the best game day atmosphere when watching football, well, look no further than my friends over at The Other Place.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down. 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Finding an attorney can be an overwhelming process. Fortunately, since 1996, Mark Ferguson has helped thousands of Kansas Cityans during their time of need. Whether you're facing a traffic violation or a more serious crime, Mark and his team of seasoned, compassionate professionals are here to fight for you in all of your legal matters. Mark has built his career on integrity, knowledge, and an incredible reputation. Call Mark Ferguson at 816-203-2263. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Presenting Again Fling's love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by the Missouri Air National Guard. Serve your community your way. Serve your country and build a brighter future with the Missouri Air National Guard. Top-notch training, tuition assistance, and bonuses up to $50,000. Missouri Air National Guard St. Joseph. Aim high. Find your path today. Go to ang.com/MO.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. He's been in the locker room since 2018 and has seen the Chiefs make the AFC title game every year. Coincidence? Who knows? But no one is more plugged into your Chiefs than Nate Taylor of The Athletic.
I know the Chiefs are probably calling teams to be like, hey, 6th-round pick, and I don't know if anybody's going to bite on that sort of trade offer.
And he joins CDOT every Friday at 4, right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan.
Welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here. Rob Brenton is here as well. I don't know if we're going to be here on Monday, but we're at least going to be here today. We are very excited and thrilled to be here. I don't mean we're not going to be here because of the weather. Now, this is where maybe I am being a cynic. And I imagine that you guys feel the exact same way about it. As somebody who has lived in Kansas City and has lived in the state of Missouri every single day of my life, these storms usually only go one way. They spend a whole week hyping it up. This is going to be the biggest snowstorm you've ever seen. We got freezing rain and ice and snow, and then you're not going to be able to leave your house for 7 days. So hunker down. So you go to the store, you go to Hy-Vee, you go to Price Chopper, wherever you get your groceries from, and you start going crazy. You end up spending $200 on groceries for you and your wife. And then you know what happens. You look up and, it's kind of like you're a kid. It snows. You open up the blinds. You look outside. You start thinking to yourself, man, it ain't even that bad out there. They do this to us every single year. So in the back of my mind, that's kind of what I'm expecting. I'm kind of expecting, man, Sunday ain't going to be as bad as they say it's going to be, man. They always do this, man. This is a conspiracy. This is big business. This is the grocery stores and the news coming together to sensationalize for their own intentions. But then you also start playing in the back of your mind. You be like, man, what if they right? I got to start preparing. I got to go get gas. I got to make sure my tires are filled up, man. I got to go buy a sled. I got to make sure we got enough eggs and groceries, and I got to make sure we start doing all of that stuff. So I imagine I'm in the same place that many of you are in. Rob, what do you have planned this week? What are you going to do? Are you buying all the hype? Because they're certainly hyping it like we are getting the winter storm of the year.
So here's the thing, and this makes me a sucker, and that's fine. The one time that I said, nope, not today, Busby. I know you're way off here, pal. It was the Super Bowl between the Bucs and Chiefs. Remember, we actually got a lot of snow, and it was really cold and unpleasant out. And I had to trek out in the weather to go get the bread, eggs, and milk. You know, your French toast fixins. I had to go do that in the snow with boots on, and it was unpleasant. Ever since that moment, I have fallen for the hype, for lack of a better term. I will be grocery shopping tonight. I will be stockpiling in the house. I'm going to get the things you need. Frozen pizza, bread, eggs, whiskey. All the important stuff is coming to Casa de Brenton tonight because I am not being in a situation where Sunday, hey, it turns out they weren't overhyping it. We got blizzard-like conditions, and I have to go figure out a way to get to Hy-Vee. No thanks. I'm going tonight.
That is absolutely the plan. I just want to tell you guys as we're waiting for Nate to come in, man, just good luck. You know, I don't know what's going to happen this weekend. I would say be prepared for anything that happens this weekend. Maybe when you get home tonight, you're going to be in the house for the next 4 days. Maybe it won't end up being that bad. We get a little bit of snow, but you can still move around. Just do this. I would say the two most reckless drivers are motorcyclists on a beautiful day outside. I mean, they start thinking it's Fast and the Furious out there. They're whipping in between traffic. Like, bro, why can't you just follow the rules like everybody else? You're driving on the shoulder. You're driving in between cars. We on the highway, you acting real reckless. And the other person that is the most reckless individual is the person with the truck in the winter. The person with the truck in the winter thinks that because they got this Ford F-150 that the rules of snow and ice don't apply to their vehicle, and they start driving crazy. Maybe you are crazy truck drive guy. Let me tell you that you are a danger to everybody. Please don't be around me. I don't want you around me on the road. So if you're the guy that I'm talking about, and trust me, I see the text line. A couple of you are this person that I'm talking about. If you got the Ford F-150 and you're thinking, oh, it's not that bad, and you're driving the normal speed, let me tell you that the rest of us are terrified to be around you. We're terrified. We don't want you anywhere near us. We just want to get home safe. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do here. I don't even want to be out here, but I got to for work. I got to go help my family. I got to do something, so I'm out here driving. Please stay away from me. That is what I would advise.
Can I ask you a snow question?
Yes,
because
of course.
We got some time for
I'm always here.
Is there a reason why MoDOT and the Missouri roads are always so much worse in the weather than Kansas? Like, I have friends on the Missouri side. There's a line of demarcation. It's like, here's where we salt and where we plow and where we make sure the roads are crispy. And then you cross into KC Mo, and it's like the snow was something they could have never seen coming. It came out of nowhere. How come the roads, when you make that state line cross, are just so bad in the weather?
That's what we're doing here. You've had a bad last 45
minutes.
That's
a fair. Everyone on the text line knows I'm correct here. Missouri?
I don't know if that's accurate or not. I don't know if that's correct. I've never seen what you're talking about before. I have no knowledge or recollection of what you're talking about. The people for the Missouri Department of Transportation do a phenomenal job. This is CDOT saluting all the people at MoDOT. Why don't you guys start downtown first? That's what I would advise you to do. Start downtown first. Let's get on it right now. Let's be preactive. That's all I'm saying. Let's be proactive here. Let's do this stuff before, and let's, make sure that we're good. That's all I want. But I don't know what you're talking about, Rob. That sounds made up. And you've been spreading a lot of fake news and lies and profanity on this show for the last 30 minutes, and I'm here to tell you I'm sick of it. All right? I'm sick of it.
I just figured with all that big weed money rolling around, maybe you could plow a street.
Okay, my bad. All right, well,
over here on the Kansas side,
we don't have that sports gambling money like you guys have. We don't have that.
We use that smart. It's called building a new stadium. You guys should try it. See what happens.
Yeah, okay, my bad. I didn't know. I was unsure. All right, we're waiting on our guy, Nate Taylor, to show up. He's going to show up here in just a little bit. Look at that, right on time. Nate Taylor is here, man. I just got a sixth sense for these things. I just know when Nate Taylor is showing up. All right, I'm going to let him get situated. I'm going to let him sit down. Nate, I think there are only 3 questions heading into this Chiefs game. Number 1 is about Carson Wentz. How does Carson Wentz play well? If Carson Wentz goes out there and plays well, I think the Chiefs have a chance to pull off this upset, and Carson Wentz is going to be in some starting quarterback conversations next year for some teams. We already know there's going to be some teams that either don't have their quarterback or are about to get their quarterback but want a veteran quarterback that can get you 1-5 record in the first 6 weeks of the season as you get ready to hand things off. Everybody needs a Jacoby Brissett.
Thank you.
Everybody needs a Tyrod Taylor. Everybody needs a Gardner Minshew that can help you get a top 5 pick and then hand things off to the rookie. Carson Wentz can be that quarterback for you. So that's number one.
Right.
How does DJ Humphries look as he's going to start at left tackle and Hollywood Brown? I would play Hollywood Brown a little bit. He only has 45 snaps this season, so we're not talking about a guy with a lot of work, but I understand the argument of why you wouldn't play Hollywood Brown for this game.
Yeah. Okay. You've mostly convinced me that, hey, maybe he should play a quarter, right? Because I think there's an
45 snaps is just
it's not even a game.
It is a crazy low number for a guy that you were counting on for the postseason.
Right. Like the average snap count usually is like 60 to like 70 snaps, depending on like how the game script goes and turnovers and all that. Obviously, it goes up if you play overtime. So yeah, you've kind of convinced me that like, okay, it'd be really nice if at least to start the game, at least to have some level of competition and to kind of just see where it goes. If Carson Wentz did have DeAndre Hopkins, who needs to hit, a couple of markers for the incentives in his contract, and having Hollywood Brown for, again, like a quarter, maybe a quarter and a half, depending on how the game goes. Because the other thing, too, is like you don't ever want to see Carson Wentz pass next Sunday. But if you are forced to have him play in a postseason game with the season on the line, with the three-peat on the line, it would be nice if you had a couple moments in Denver a couple of weeks earlier where you said, hey, at least he threw a couple routes to DeAndre Hopkins and to Hollywood Brown, even though we know we're not going to see Travis Kelce. We're probably not going to see much of Xavier Worthy, if at all. You can include, McCole Hardman if he comes back from IR for the divisional round. So I understand your point. I love the Jacoby Brissett comparison because it's right there. It's right there for the New York Giants. Like, that's a team that I think needs to be very intrigued by a really good performance from Carson Wentz against a very good Denver Broncos team trying to make the playoffs. Like, this is a perfect scenario for him to make more money, to legitimize himself for being one of those like top options if you miss on the draft, or if you want to have another Sam Darnold for your JJ McCarthy situation. I'm eager to see how Carson Wentz actually looks because he's had the whole year to understand the playbook and what the coaches think he can do and what they like from him. It'd be nice if DJ Humphries plays the whole game, Carrington. So, sure, man. Like, at least you know that if DJ Humphries plays to his standard, Carson Wentz should be able to function, right? He shouldn't be getting hit, 15 times the way Pat was at certain times this year, whether that was Wanya Morris or Kingsley Suamataia.
All right, let's do this. We'll take a break here. We'll give you some time to get ready here. We'll do an extended segment coming up on the other side. Even though this is a fourth preseason game for the Chiefs, there's actually a lot of stuff to get your opinion on. What do you think about DJ Humphries? We'll take a look at some of the offseason things. We kind of got a little bit of time here of, hey, what does this mean for Trey Smith this offseason? He was named to his first Pro Bowl team. It is crazy to me that for the second consecutive season, Trent McDuffie could be named to the All-Pro team and not named to the Pro Bowl team. And then I didn't know how much money you lose by not being named to the Pro Bowl roster. Like, we're talking about $5 million that was lost from Trent McDuffie for not being named to a team that we all think he is good enough to be on. So there's a lot of things to get your opinion on. We got Nate Taylor here in studio for the entire 4 o'clock hour. Keep it right here, Sir Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Heartland Men's Health today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Heartland Men's Health will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously. You might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right? And right now, your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. Good for you. That's cash that you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel, everything you want. The catch is, you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with the TrueHold Sell and Stay Leaseback program. This is a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to TrueHold while its value is high. You bank all that equity in cash now, and you can stay as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a TrueHold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993. That's 1-855-300-9993. Or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
Underdog is the place to cash in all your takes during the playoffs this last week of the season, because Missouri sports fans got great news. Underdog is available to play in your state right now. You could be making those selections about whether or not you think the stats are a little too low on Carson Wentz this weekend. Maybe you really like Kareem Hunt to have a big weekend and you think he's going to go higher. You can make those entries over at Underdog and start winning cash now. Give yourself a chance by showing how skilled you are in these picks. With Underdog's double flex option, you can even take 2 L's and turn them into a W. All of those things are available and more by visiting Underdog. Underdog is the best play to play champs. Download the app and sign up for promo code using TAPP, T-A-P-P, and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.npcgambling.org.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Have you ever tried something for the first time and then wondered how you ever got along without it? That's how thousands of new Navage users describe their first experience. Once they feel sinus relief and can breathe clearly again, many wonder why it took them so long to experience the Navage difference. Navage uses refreshing saline and gentle suction to quickly suck out mucus, germs, and other airborne irritants. Stop suffering from congestion and start feeling better again with Navage. Brand new look, same great product.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic brought to you by Metro Ford, online at kcmetroford.com. Seeing some brake lights heading into downtown northbound 35. Previous collision has cleared out on the southern lanes of the downtown loop, but we're still seeing backups to the state line. And a stalled car on the right shoulder of eastbound 70 right at Sterling. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's George Karlaftis. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, we got Nate Taylor here. We're going to do an extended segment. We're going to do like the next 20 or so minutes here. There's a lot of Chiefs news to get into. All right, Nate Taylor, let's start with this. The top story, the big news today is the return of Jalen Watson. If you look at the numbers, this is one of the most significant things that could happen to the Chiefs down the stretch. When Jalen Watson was in, teams completed 60% of their passes. When he was off of the field, they completed 67% of their passes. That is a significant difference in the National Football League. getting him back at this time, and maybe he won't be 100%. But 80% of what you had earlier this season is by far and away the second best corner that you have on this team. And now, guys who have been playing well, you can now move them down the depth chart a little bit, and it just brings up the entire thing.
Yes.
Everything that could possibly go the Chiefs' way for the last 2 weeks has been going right for the Chiefs. You get 3 weeks to get everybody healthy, get everybody right. Hollywood looked better than people expected in that limited amount of time. You're getting Jalen Watson back. Charles Omenihu has been a dog. Like, there has been no bad stories for the Chiefs in, it feels like, a month or so.
Yeah, and it really leaves the only looming question, like, who's going to be the left tackle, right? Is it going to be DJ Humphrey, or are they going to stay with Joe Thuney? Yes, this is quite significant because I think the Chiefs thought when the injury occurred, and just, for context purposes, Jalen Watson got hurt on October 20th. And so originally, one of the first thoughts that I had heard from people in the organization is like, hey, maybe Super Bowl, because you get those 2 weeks from the championship game to the Super Bowl. So, hey, if everything goes perfectly fine, maybe he starts practicing somewhere in like the middle of January, and he might be available for the Super Bowl. I know Jalen had been putting a lot of videos out the last couple weeks. I think, honestly, since like mid-December, if my memory is correct. I'll have to go back and look. But he's been putting videos out on like Instagram, and I saw some of those that got put back on Twitter. He even put a video up like a couple days ago with him in the indoor training facility. And I saw it, and I was like, that's change of direction with pretty good fluidity. And, like, you had a similar injury to Isaiah Pacheco, but his timeline was supposed to be faster and shorter than yours. Okay, this is interesting. So here's the news, ladies and gentlemen. You do not bring a player. You do not open a player's injury designation window if that player ain't playing. He's probably, unless something happens between now and my belief is January 18th? Is that Saturday?
Yep.
January 18th is when I think the Chiefs will play, based on what the league has done over the last few years on divisional round weekend.
They feel like they feel like a Saturday night on NBC.
Yes.
First game.
Yes.
That's what it feels like to me.
So between the 3rd and now, between the 3rd and the 18th, he's going to be in uniform. And to your point, Carrington, that will be massive because you also have to remember Chamari Connor missed a large chunk of the Cleveland game and the Pittsburgh game being in the concussion protocol. He is expected to play Sunday against the Denver Broncos, but obviously he's a nice piece to have in your secondary. So you could have as good as he has been all year, Jaden Hicks, Chamari Connor, Jalen Watson, Trent McDuffie. I haven't even mentioned Justin Reed yet. And maybe you throw out Josh Williams if you want to go in dime personnel. Like, that is a massive group compared to like the group we were seeing midway through November, when they were going back and forth between Najee Johnson and, hey, here's Chris Roland Wallace. And, Joshua Williams can play well, but they really didn't use him a ton until Black Friday against the Las Vegas Raiders. So if you're telling me the person who may play the least in the secondary is Joshua Williams, okay, now you go back to being that elite defense that you saw through the first 5 to 6 weeks where no one could score even close to 30. And that's a much different defense than even the Buffalo Bills saw when they beat the Chiefs. And obviously whoever you see in, round 2, whether that's Houston, Pittsburgh. Yeah, I guess there's a chance Baltimore, but I think Baltimore will win on Saturday, so they should be the 3 seed. But whoever you see, whether it's the Chargers, like the Chargers are going to get a totally different defense than what they saw just a couple weeks ago in Arrowhead.
Right now, we're joined in studio by Nate Taylor. He covers the Chiefs for The Athletic. Nate, I think if you and I had to do a draft right now of the players on the Chiefs who needed rest the most, like last year, I think you would have said Travis Kelce. I think it was kind of clear the second half of the season he was laboring a little bit, and that rest got him 100% ready for the postseason. And you saw the Travis Kelce of old for those 3 weeks.
Yep.
I think this year the number one pick would be Isaiah Pacheco. I'm not 100% certain that Isaiah Pacheco was healthy. I think he maybe pushed it and came back a little too soon, that now you give him 3 weeks to get healthy and more time to recover from the leg injury. We're talking about somebody who had surgery for a broken leg and came back to play football less than 2 months later. I do think that fans have been kind of quick to forget how good Isaiah Pacheco was in the midst of everything that's going on right now. Like, he's still your best running back if he's healthy.
Correct.
And you don't go from being a 4.8 yard per carry guy, a 4.6 yard per carry guy, to now a 3.7 yard per carry guy unless something drastic has happened. I think the drastic thing was the injury.
Yes.
I think that Isaiah Pacheco is the player on the team that needs this 3 weeks the most. And I suspect once the Chiefs come back for that second round game, I think you'll see the old Isaiah Pacheco. I think it will be pretty clear who the best running back is.
Yeah, and I wouldn't. I love the fact that you said like he came back early or soon, as soon as possible, which is a credit to him being a good professional, being a good teammate, doing the best he can for the team. It was also a necessity because they had worn Kareem Hunt down to the studs by mid-December, right? Or excuse me, mid-November. So they played Carolina on November 24th, and it's clear that, like, all right, now Kareem needs a rest. And they've been trying to manage both of them really since Isaiah came back on Black Friday against the Raiders. So, you know, he's had 5 games to get back into some rhythm, to understand where his body is, you know, from a week-to-week standpoint. It's perfect that, you know, and also let's not forget, too, that, like, hey, congratulations, you came back from injury. How about we play 3 games in 11 days? When you're coming off of broken fibula, or fractured fibula, just nuts. I love this because people forget how good Pacheco was in last year's postseason run. He is their most explosive back. He's also, I mean, it's a preference thing to some degree. Like, the Chiefs could pass the ball to Kareem Hunt quite a bit if they wanted. He has very good hands. But in terms of working in space, I would say Pacheco's probably the better option right now alongside Samaje Perine. Whoever they play, right? If you play the Chargers, that's a good defense. So that'll be a nice barometer before you would assume the Chiefs will win and play whoever in the championship game. But the fact that both of those guys, and again, that this point has not happened all season, right? They have not had any game this season where you felt like you had a fresh and healthy Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. And so the two of them feeding off of one another is going to help in the postseason. But I love the fact that even the 5 games that Pacheco played, they never gave him more than 14 carries. And even against the Chargers on December 8th, he had 14 carries for 55 yards for a 3.9 average. You know, very good. And then they've backed him off ever since then, most notably because they had to play 3 games in 11 days. He will be healthy. And if the running game can get to be a formidable part of the offense, it just lessens the burden for Patrick Mahomes, and it creates more openings in the middle of the field, I think, for Travis Kelce, who should also be healthy, who should also be pretty fresh. And now you can run as much RPO action as you want with Hollywood Brown maybe running routes behind Travis Kelce or behind DeAndre Hopkins.
You know, I like asking you percentage chances that things happen. What is the percentage chance that DJ Humphries is the starting left tackle in 2 weeks? What is the percentage chance that Joe Thuney is the starting left tackle? That the Chiefs just come to the conclusion, hey, this 5 was our best offensive line this year, and we want to go into the playoffs with that level of continuity. We understand that this is unconventional, and we're playing maybe our best offensive lineman out of position, but we're also putting him at the most important spot on that offensive line. We feel confident with Mike Caliendo. What's the percentage chance that Humphrey starts at left tackle in the divisional round? What's the percentage chance that you think that Joe Thuney starts?
I want to be very clear, Carrington, because I love this question. Right now, Joe Thuney is the left tackle for the playoffs. I would give it a 60% chance today. What matters about Sunday's game, and really the only thing that matters beyond staying healthy, getting out of there with nothing crazy going on, is how close can DJ Humphries flip that ratio? Can he flip it from 60-40 against him to 60-40 in favor of him? Because I think Andy Reid would love, as well as Brett Veach, the general manager, you don't make the move for DJ Humphrey unless you think your best five includes both of them on the field at the same time, DJ Humphries and Joe Thuney. The issue is, because of the hamstring injury, he has not even finished one game this season. Coming off an ACL, it's really, really tough. And at some point, you just got to trust the one you've been dancing with that you, again, won 3 games in 11 days with. So as of right now, I would say it's still Joe Thuney. Joe Thuney is playing very competent, out-of-position football. He should get all the praise. I think this stretch kind of solidifies to me that he's a Hall of Famer already. He's a 4-time Super Bowl champ. He's a multi-time Pro Bowler, multi-timed All-Pro, left guard, played with Tom Brady, played with Patrick Mahomes. Him doing this and living to tell the tale. Again, 3 games in 11 days is incredible against Myles Garrett, against, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson, Alex Highsmith, and obviously TJ Watt, although TJ didn't really go towards him a ton. I just think the ratio right now is probably still in favor of Joe Thuney because Mike Caliendo has not been a complete, utter failure. Like, he's been an average guard, who's playing his first significant snaps in his career. So unless DJ plays well, gets through the game, dominates the Broncos to some degree, who, by the way, will have their starters on the field for that game to get into the playoffs, and you may potentially, slim chance, you might potentially see them 2 weeks later if they were to beat the Buffalo Bills. Okay, maybe all those 3 things got to fall into place, and you got to come through the game healthy, and you got to demonstrate that, is Patrick Mahomes willing to trust you with the season on the line when y'all have only played together one time? That is a big ask, regardless of what you've already done in your career, regardless what you do on Sunday. He's played with Joe Thuney enough to know that, Joe Thuney will go out there and put his body on the line to protect me, and he just does not have the acquisite reps and the acquisite snaps with DJ Humphrey right now. So DJ's got to go above and beyond Sunday to really close the gap or to flip it in his favor.
Right now, we're talking to Nate Taylor joining us in studio, going through some of the top storylines. I do want to talk a little big picture with you. What if this is the Chiefs' long-term plan at offensive line? This offseason, they extend Joe Thuney, who is entering the final year of his deal, as a thank you for everything that you've done. Everything that we've asked you to do, you've done at a high level.
Yep.
We're going to make sure that you finish your career in Kansas City, and eventually your name is going to go up there with some of the best offensive linemen who have ever played this game in the Chiefs Ring of Honor, and that's where Joe Thuney should be. So you extend Joe Thuney. If you change his cap number, that gives you the room to and now extend Trey Smith if you want to.
Potentially,
so you get to keep those 3 guys together in the middle part of it.
Yep.
You got Jawan Taylor. Now you've paid 4 offensive linemen, but the upcoming season would then be the last year for Jawan Taylor, and then you would move Wanye Morris over to right tackle, and that is your 2-year plan for offensive line. And obviously, you still need to figure out what you're going to do on that left side. Is that a chance that is the long-term plan for the Chiefs?
For the next 2 years, it sounds awesome, especially if you can get Trey to not be the highest paid guard in the league. Now, that's asking a lot.
I think he's going to get wide receiver money.
Oh, it's crazy, dude. Or how much can we backload it, or fudge the numbers a bit, whether it's incentives, void years. I don't know what it'll take because I haven't gone through that exercise just yet. But, man, if you could do that for the next 2 years, it sounds awesome because even this year, I felt like Wanye Morris got better, and then unfortunately he got hurt, and then his body and his play deteriorated within a rapid amount of weeks. And of course, he's not playing his most natural position in the NFL. Even though he did it in college, he is not a left tackle. Anybody who talked to you coming into the draft would have told you, "Hey man, you're not a left tackle. You're a swing tackle. You could do it in a pinch, a game or two, but no, not the long-standing. This is the guy that we're gonna have protect the greatest asset in franchise history for the duration of the season." Now, one thought process is, and I know this goes for all of them, whether it's Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, or DJ Humphries, depending on how the season is, if you get to the Super Bowl or if you win it all, like that could obviously help you for 2025 and them getting agreeing to 1-year deals. To some degree, obviously, those will have some incentives in those as well to keep them back in the fold. So maybe you bridge gap it yet again another year with maybe DJ Humphries as your left tackle for 2025. Then maybe you go back into the draft for 2026. I don't know what's going to happen. We've talked before about Kingsley Suamataia. Is he better version at a guard? Who knows? Will he even play guard Sunday against the Denver Broncos? There's, I guess, a chance for that to happen. But I love that plan of Joe Thuney's money gives him the ability to retire while that money will be on the books technically, while Jawan Taylor technically might be off the books. Creed Humphrey's money will balloon. Obviously, Trey Smith's money will balloon, but you'll be much further through the prime years of Patrick Mahomes, which is ultimately what matters. And what he's demonstrated even this year, and especially in 2022, is if you give that man protection, he will find a way to get you into the end zone more times than not.
Because they just have 2 big free agents coming into this year. And given what we know about the Chiefs and how they handle these things, there's no way that they're letting Trey Smith and Nick Bolton both walk in free agency. One of them will probably get the opportunity to hit free agency, and we'll see what kind of deal you pick up.
Right.
But the Chiefs have done a really good job of one of those 2 guys. They're going to pick which one they really want, and they will be happy to let the other person go. There will be no hard feelings. Hey, we're going to let you go play for San Francisco, and you're going to be the highest paid player at your position.
Right.
But they are going to retain one of those 2 players.
And the fascinating part about all this, Carrington, is, which market will actually be more active? Will it be at the guard position or will it be at linebacker? And I can make an argument for kind of both going into this offseason. Again, we don't know all the details. Some guys might get hurt between now and the end of the Super Bowl. But from a linebacker standpoint, I'm just looking at certain cash flows right now. I mean, there's not a lot of guys that are making a lot of money and are on teams that you would say, hey, they don't need a linebacker. There's about 8 to 9 teams that probably need a linebacker. Most notably a team in Cincinnati. I don't know how people feel about that, but I'm just looking at people's age, the money they've been giving out. And I'm like, he could go to Cincinnati and make a nice amount of money. For the guard situation, we saw that last year, like guards, because people are now realizing that, hey, protecting the quarterback is actually important. We're seeing an uptick in the amount of money given out to both right and left guards. So Trey could be the highest paid right guard pretty soon. If not, it's already a given, unless something crazy happens. By the way, Chris Lindstrom for the Atlanta Falcons, just so people know.
He got paid, I remember.
Makes $20 million a year. 20.5. Trey Smith is a much better player than Chris Lindstrom and is younger. So that gives you an idea that he can get into maybe the 22, 23, 24 range.
I think I think it's kind of like, you remember whenever the Chiefs really they wanted a pass rusher and they identified Frank Clark as that guy.
Yes.
And for them, Frank Clark just checked all the boxes of what they needed. There's going to be a team out there that needs help on the offensive line, and Trey Smith is going to answer every single question for them. You're available. You play every week. You're great with the media. You're a great teammate.
Mm-hmm.
He's just going to check. You're a winner. You've played in big games. You can establish the culture, and you can be the veteran to teach some of our younger players. Everything that you would like about a free agent, he has, and almost none of the questions you have about a free agent. He's not a guy that you are worried about paying, and now there's going to be a problem with him. If you're going to give 4 years, $88 million, and $50 guaranteed to an offensive lineman, he is as good of a player that you could give it to in free agency.
Let me tell you who is signing off on that right now, just as you said that. His name is Dan Campbell, because the Lions have a very good offensive line, but it is getting up there in age. So when you look at the depth chart, and I'm just going to go through it here real quick. Again, and by the way, Trey Smith probably want to play for a contender, right? So you need to find both someone who's willing to pay you, a certain game style that you love, a coach that you respect, and hey, man, I'm trying to win and I'm trying to get paid, right? So as of right now, their left guard is Graham Gaslow. Their right guard is Kevin Zeitzer. One is 33, one is 35. One becomes an unrestricted free agent next year or this year, depending on. I'm looking at I'm going through these quickly. I think Graham Gaslow goes in 2027, but that's a void year. So hey, we would like to have some really good guards. We have a couple guys who are phasing out. Like, they're very good right now. But if you're trying to keep this thing rolling in Detroit, I'm not an agent, but I've already identified someone that Dan Campbell will absolutely love in Trey Smith. And by the way, depending on the contract with, I'd have to look at his contract again, but it's kind of near the top. Jared Goff making that money now, but you could find a way to probably structure it. And again, Jared Goff's only 31, so he'll be around for the majority of his contract based on what I'm understanding right now. But I'm just saying, there's plenty of teams out there, and yes, Trey Smith could make $22-23 million a year. Right now, the highest paid guard, if you're wondering, ladies and gentlemen, is left guard Landon Dickerson at $21 million a year. Trey Smith can go over that easily.
I'm looking at the spread for this game, and the Chiefs are 10.5-point dogs. I hammered it the moment that I saw it. I hammered it.
Hammered.
I'm not saying the Chiefs are going to win this game. I don't really care if they win or lose this game.
Right.
I know they're not getting blown out in this game. They've been in this position way too many times with Andy Reid for me to think that they're completely laying down in this game. If Denver wins, they win 17-10. They win 21-13 is how they win. They don't go out there and just completely roll over Kansas City. 10.5 points is way too many points for me in this one. Kansas City is close, competitive, and this game is tight, so to speak, heading into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I completely agree because we've gotten so used. I know Chiefs fans have gotten so comfortable to Matt Moore coming off of high school coaching and, cult hero Chad Henne coming in off the bench and being competent and, being in rhythm with Travis Kelce, or even last year with Blaine Gabbert, who was maximizing every last drop of what he had left in his career before he retired. That ain't Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz can actually move people. He can actually move in the pocket. He can scramble. He can gain yards with his legs. So he may not have the best receiving options, but he can make some things work. I do know Andy Reid will take great pleasure out of putting the fear in Sean Payton's eyes if this game is close at the start of the fourth quarter. You know how much he enjoys the fact that he could just tell everybody today, Nick Bolton ain't playing, Kareem Hunt's not playing, George Karlaftis, Travis Kelce, Justin Reed, Drew Tranquil, obviously Patrick Mahomes, Juwan Taylor ain't playing, Chris Jones, Isaiah Pacheco. We can still beat them. That's gonna be his message on Saturday night when the team meets at the hotel for sort of the last team meeting of the week. It's just gonna be hilarious that given what Carson is capable of, and given the pressure that the Broncos will already be in, I would be surprised if the Chiefs got blown out. There would have to be some turnover discrepancy. But this team is too well coached, and again, you have a better backup quarterback than Patrick Mahomes has ever had, and he at least, again, for maybe a half, maybe a quarter, will be passing the ball most likely to DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, and maybe even Xavier Worthy for a bit.
It is time to play a game. It's been a while since we played a game with you on the show. 913-586-7965. We need 4 callers. We're going to play a quick game with Chiefs Prices Right. I also want to get your thoughts on Sunday Night Football. You will get a chance to watch some of this. We got Vikings and Lions. This is the biggest game in the NFL regular season. So we'll play Chiefs Prices Right, plus we'll get to Vikings and Lions as we get to the hits coming up at the top of the hour. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC part solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
This is your MIAA Minute with Commissioner Mike Racy, your weekly update from Kansas City's only NCAA conference headquarters. March Madness and the celebration of college basketball is just around the corner. The MIAA is proud that we get to start the madness every March in Kansas City with the MIAA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships downtown at historic Municipal Auditorium. Plan now to bring the whole family March 5th through the 9th to experience the nation's oldest small college basketball tournament and watch some of the best teams in NCAA Division II. Tickets will be on sale soon. Check the MIAA website or visit the Municipal Auditorium box office for more information. Remember, the 14 schools in the MIAA are champions in the classroom, in competition, and in the community. As we like to say in the MIAA, bring your A game.
Money-back guarantees and parts and labor warranties mean you're not just buying products, you're securing your investment. For a limited time, receive a free furnace when you purchase an AC. Schedule a complimentary proposal online at anthonyphce.com.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 137th and Metcalf in Overland Park on Friday, January 3rd. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m., eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. For more details, go to 965thefan.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Some brake lights out of the 435 and 70 exchange, and a little braking as well, downtown loop and northbound 35 into downtown. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
All right, it is the perfect time to play this game. We got Nate Taylor in studio. We will get back to his analysis and breakdown in just a bit. But we got a very important question. It is time to play Chiefs Price is Right. Did you guys know that this is the 9th season for Carson Wentz in the National Football League? Rob, we are asking a very simple question. How much money do you think that Carson Wentz has made as a quarterback in the National Football League? You guys know the rule. Closest to the number without going over wins a pizza. The rules are very, very simple. Ian, thanks a lot for calling into the show.
Ian.
Happy New Year to you. Hopefully you have a great weekend. All right, Carson Wentz is in his 9th season in the National Football League. How much money do you think Carson Wentz has made?
Carson Wentz has made, let's go, $250 million.
$250 million. All right, Ian, let me put you on hold here. All right, David, I'll ask you the same question. How much money do you think Carson Wentz has made in the National Football League?
I'm going to go $130 million.
All right, $130 million. Let me put you on hold there. All right. Andy, how much money do you think Carson Wentz has made in the National Football League?
I'm going to go $152 million.
All right. Andy, let me put you on hold here. 152. All right. All right, Matt. Carson Wentz is in his 9th season in the league. How much money do you think Carson Wentz has made playing quarterback?
Give me $160 million.
$160 million. Rob, do you have a guess? We are playing quick game of Chiefs prices, right? Carson Wentz is starting this week for the Kansas City Chiefs. How much money has he made?
115.
115.
I think he got one mega deal, but
115?
5 years of rookie, one mega deal, flamed out.
He got
115.
that deal early though.
Yeah, that's true.
He got that deal early.
There was no third contract of real consequence.
No, there was not a third.
And he was before the boom. He was before the Deshaun Watson ruined everything for everyone.
He was at the rookie cap too. You see back in the days, Sam Bradford got $50 million for just being a good college player. All right, Nate Taylor, before I tell you the number, before I tell you who the winner is, how much money do you think Carson Wentz has made in his NFL career?
177.
177. All right, 177. All right, Rob. In Carson Wentz 9 seasons in the National Football League, he has made $132.7 million playing football. That means David is the winner. Congratulations to David. He is the winner of today's Chiefs Price is Right with Carson Wentz. It is very, very crazy to say, but if Carson Wentz plays well in this game, he has a chance of being a starting quarterback next year in the league.
Yeah.
He has a chance of being a starting quarterback in the league. I don't know how long he'll be a starting quarterback in the league, but if he balls out, he has a chance to be a starter in the league.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a chance for him to get a nice 2-year contract. Again, with somebody who is in the process of rebuilding or needs to admit that they are finally rebuilding, or, hey, we're going to take a kid early in the draft, first, second round, whatever, and because of the rookie wage scale, we can pair these two contracts up and hope one of y'all doesn't embarrass us, and so that obviously happened with Minnesota. Now, Sam Darnold got a little bit more money because he's younger than Carson Wentz, but Carson Wentz still has the talent to be a starter for somebody in the league.
Right now, we got Nate Taylor joining us in studio. His appearances on the show are brought to you by Mark Ferguson. We all make mistakes. Let Mark and his legal team make the best of them. Give him a call at 816-221-1750. Shout out to our guy, Mark Ferguson, sponsoring our guy, Nate Taylor's segment. We have a very important Sunday Night Football game. It sounds crazy to say. This is the most important football game that Sunday Night Football has ever had before. We got 2 14-win teams. Somebody is going to be the 1 seed. One team gets a bye week. The other team is going to have to play on the road next week and will be on the road for 3 straight weeks.
That's crazy.
When you think of the implication of one game in the National Football League, this is what it boils down to. This is what you want the final game of the NFL season to be. Who are you picking this weekend, Lions or Vikings?
Because the game's in Detroit? Is that right?
Yes.
Man, that would be rough for those people. That place better be jumping. I've seen enough, guys. I've seen enough. Maybe I'm a little high, but I've seen enough. I've gotten to the point now, ladies and gentlemen, where I watch Vikings all 22 just for fun, for bleeps and giggles. Boy is playing out of his mind because the coach is scheming it up, Carrington, and they got Justin Jefferson. How in the world? I mean, again, the place needs to be jumping on Sunday night because how in the world are they going to guard these dudes? It sucks. It really does suck that the version of the Lions we have now is not the version we had the first 8 weeks, right? And that's obviously including Aiden Hutchinson's injury. Man, TJ Hawkinson's like their fourth option, and he's really good. Jordan Addison has just become like a dude. I love the running game. Obviously, this is coming off the McVay sort of tree, the Shanahan kind of elements, the play action, just the easy reads for Sam Darnold. Dudes are open constantly. And that was against a good Packers team in Matt LaFleur, who can obviously coach. And their defense has been pretty good for long stretches this season, too. So as much as Detroit is still the darling of the NFL, I don't know how you – I don't – hey, go for it on fourth down every time, Dan Campbell. I'm kind of getting more comfortable with him being super ultra aggressive, even against the 49ers team that had nothing to play for, because I'm just like, hey, man, they need points. Like, they have become like the version of like what the Chiefs were in 2018. Like, we just need as many points as possible. Don't turn the ball over. Give us 4 downs, because I think the Vikings will win just because they got a great mix right now of coach, skill position players, the offensive line is held up, and the quarterback really don't have to think, Carrington. Like, that's a crazy thing. Like the stuff Patrick Mahomes is doing, high level, extremely high level. Lamar Jackson, incredibly high level. Oh, the dudes, they're wide open. He's making easy reads based on the formation, the play design, the timing element, the fact that all the coverage is obviously going to be weighted to Justin Jefferson, and even he's still getting open. I just think the Vikings are going to win the game.
I have actually really been coming around on the Sam Darnold should be considered for MVP. Like, if you were telling me this is the biggest game this week in the National Football League, and you were telling me that a quarterback goes on the road against who people think is one of the 5 best teams in the league, and he throws for 300 yards and had 3 touchdowns and they win the game, you're going to have to really, really sell me on why that player is not the NFL MVP. And my argument has been, if Sam Darnold was a name brand,
correct,
we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Correct.
But people just don't believe that Sam Darnold can be this good. Like, people are just like, oh, well, eventually it's going to end.
No,
that's not what the MVP award should be.
He's already passed for 4,000 yards. He has 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. His passer rating is 106.
It's just crazy.
Crazy! I mean, and again, now he's been sacked a decent amount, but that's okay. Like, sometimes you got to eat the ball in order to not turn it over. But I'm just saying, man, like Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and Aaron bleeping Jones. Like, they got a squad. And it doesn't matter if the Packers see you twice, if the Lions see you twice, they're gonna score, man. I just think that defense in Detroit is so battered that it's gonna have to be a shootout. And maybe if Jared Goff has the ball last, okay, maybe the Lions can win. But if Sam Darnold just plays the way he's been playing, I think the Vikings right now are the better team, and he's got MVP-esque type numbers. The problem is we all have eyes, and I've seen Lamar Jackson. I've gone back and forth between the two. I think Lamar Jackson should be the MVP. I don't care that he won it the last 2 years, y'all. Let me just tell you what this man has done. If y'all don't know, Lamar Jackson probably needs to win the division. I know that helps. Don't be the 5 seed. But, like, Lamar Jackson will have 4,000 yards when the season's over. He has 39 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. His passer rating is 121. I'm just giving you the simple statistics, Carrington. And then you watch him and you're like, he not passing the ball to Jordan Jefferson, man. Or Justin Jefferson. He not passing to Jordan Addison. He don't even have, like, I love Mark Andrews, but he's not TJ Hawkinson right now. He's older. So I think Lamar's the MVP. And again, that's just passing yards, kids.
We're not talking about the rushing.
We're not even talking about the rushing yards.
Yeah, but he's the greatest rushing quarterback the league's ever seen before. Like, literally, we've ever seen before.
I know Josh Allen has been incredible this season. Guys, look at what this man is doing. And the Ravens don't even have a good defense.
Yeah, I've made this point. I know we're up against it, Rob. I've made the point of, I feel like the league is just ready to give Josh Allen something. Patrick has a couple of these and won a Super Bowl. Lamar's won a couple of these. We can't give it to him again. Joe Burrow's been to the Super Bowl. We've anointed this guy next, and he doesn't really have anything, so we got to give him MVP.
Here's the problem, though. I'm just comparing numbers, dog. It's so bad. It's so wild. It's not even close.
Yeah, the only argument that Josh Allen has is that he has done more with less, which to me,
no, stop it.
But I'm saying that's the argument people are going to make because he doesn't have the numbers argument against Darnold or against Lamar Jackson.
It's not Lamar Jackson's fault they signed Derrick Henry. Y'all should have gave him a call.
I mean, I'm on your side.
What are we talking about?
I'm just telling you why Josh Allen's going to win.
The man has 39 touchdowns and 4 picks, okay? Josh Allen, for comparison, same amount of games, right? 16-16. Hey, great season, young man. 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Okay, cool. You don't even have the same rushing yards. I'm just saying when you drop back to pass, one guy has been highly more efficient than even a guy who's played great this season. That I don't care that he's won it 2 years in a row, ladies and gentlemen. Lamar Jackson probably should be the MVP, and it will definitely help his case if they win on Saturday, which I assume they will, and they'll win the division again with, again, Lamar Jackson does not have as good of a defense as Patrick Mahomes or as Josh Allen statistically. That is just the facts, and yet he's going to throw for 40 touchdowns this season with 4 or 5 picks. It's wild.
That is our guy, Nate Taylor, joining us in studio. Nate, man, Happy New Year, man. Look forward to catching up with you. You know what? The Chiefs have a bye. You have a bye next week, and then we'll come back in a couple of weeks, and we'll get things going. Coming up on the other side, let's get to the top stories of the day in the NFL. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic is brought to you by Metro Ford online at kcmetroford.com. 2-car crash eastbound 70 at 435, closing the left lane. Traffic backing up against that 435 and 70 exchange. Some debris in the roadway northbound 71 just past Meyer Boulevard. Be prepared to stop. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
So the college season is wrapping up, so is the pros. And I know you're looking for a place to grab yourself a cold drink, some great food specials, and you want to be sure that you don't miss a second of the action. Well, let me tell you about the perfect place. It's with my friends over at The Other Place. With 5 locations all around the metro, it is the perfect place to stop in, grab a drink, and catch the game, especially when they have great specials. They have a 14-inch 2-topping pizza for $12, 8 wings in a basket of tots for $12, and $4 domestics. If you're looking for a one-of-a-kind game day experience and the best game day atmosphere when watching football, well, look no further than my friends over at The Other Place.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford, online at kcmetroford.com.
Lowe's knows how to save you time and money. Order what you need by 2 p.m. to get it delivered the same day. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes for same-day delivery. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
For 2 days only at Old Navy, get 50% off all pants for the family. Yep, 50% off all pants for the fam. Hurry in this Friday and Saturday to save big, only at Old Navy. Valid 1, 3, and 4. Excludes clearance, active jeans, sweatpants, knit leggings, and sleep.
Touchdown! Chiefs coverage brought to you by Park & Go, the best deals on airport parking.
Touchdown!
Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service and always the best price at bookparkandgo.com. Open 24/7 and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
We got a new function on the Odyssey app.
Did you guys know that this is a thing? I can send you messages from the Odyssey app. Kind of crazy.
KFNZ FM and AM HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
All right, congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. Thank you so much for listening. It is The Drive. My name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be here. Rob Brenton is here. We plan on being here Monday. Who knows what the weather holds, but my plan is to be here. Rob's plan is here. We are preparing for the playoffs, and excited about the final regular season week in the NFL. We will get to the Chiefs coming up in just a bit. But before we do that, I want to play some audio for you guys. So this audio is from Brian Platt. Brian Platt is the city manager for the city of Kansas City, Missouri. Now, I don't have to tell you guys this. If you live in the area, you know what I'm saying is they've been really hyping up this storm. So much to the fact that one of the hits, we have a weather person calling into the show because that's the top story in Kansas City. What's the weather going to be like this weekend? Well, I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist, but I'm just going off what the people on the TV are saying. I want to play for you guys what Brian Platt had to say. Again, he is the city manager for the city of Kansas City. Listen to this.
This has the potential to be one of the most significant storms in Kansas City's history, but I'll say that we've never been more prepared. We've never had more drivers, more trucks, more salt on hand in our history, period. We've got 40,000 tons of salt, 8,000 tons of ice span, and we've got 300 snow removal trucks. We've got 400 drivers. We are ready to go.
Rob, did you hear what that man just said? I don't think I heard what that man just said. Brian Platt, city manager, one of the most important people in Kansas City, just said that this had the chance to be one of the most significant storms in the history of the city. Do you guys know when Kansas City became a city? 1853. He just told you that he thinks this is one of the most significant storms that we have possibly ever had. I gave you guys the analogy yesterday. Some of you might be too young to remember this. This is like the guy from Sanford and Sons. This is the big one. Elizabeth, I'm coming. They have been telling us all week how bad it's going to be this weekend. And on one side, you got to believe them. You got to prepare. You can't be caught empty-handed. Nobody wants to be stuck inside the house with the snow and the ice, and you ain't got no snacks. You got no nothing. You don't got anything. You're just hungry. Uber Eats ain't coming to save you. You're not leaving the house to go get food. You got to prepare for the weather. But then the other side of you is thinking, man, they do this all the time. At least once a year, they tell us how bad the snowstorm is going to be. And it usually snows. I'm not going to make it seem like I think it's going to be like how it is outside right now. It is coming. It's rarely as bad as they say it's going to be. They are selling us what usually feels like the absolute worst case scenario. We usually don't get the worst case scenario. We don't get the best case scenario. We don't get the worst case scenario. Sure, we'll get a little bit of freezing rain. We'll get a little bit of hail. We'll get a little bit of ice. It'll snow a little bit. But I'm hoping it's not as bad as they're saying it is. That man just said, Rob, that this had the chance to be the worst storm that we've ever had in the history of the city, and the city was founded in 1853. If that's the case, bro, y'all not seeing me next week. No, not just Monday, Rob. You're looking at me like, oh, Monday? No. If the Chiefs are off next week, I'm off next week. If I got to go through snow, sleet, and ice and do all that to come out here, hey, I ain't got it, Rob. You got it, man. You'll figure it out. What's Briscoe doing these days? Can he come in, fill in for me, pinch hit? I'm dedicated to being here. I ain't that dedicated to going through all of that nonsense if it's what he's talking about. He's talking about it's going to be like day after tomorrow. He's making it seem like we got a snowpocalypse coming. Do me a favor, y'all. Do me a favor. Actually, do me two favors. Number one, make sure you got your essentials. Bread, eggs, bacon. I already got a text from Spectrum. I already got a text from Evergy. Hey, we might have some problems this weekend. You need to go ahead and accept that there might be some issues. It better not be no issues. If I'm going to be stuck in the house all day, the electricity better work. The internet better work. I'm cool on everything else. I'll figure it out. But those two things need to work. And number two, I know I'm talking to a very select group of people. I know that. But we all know who this person is. The most dangerous person to be around during an ice storm and a snowstorm is the guy driving a truck. I'm not talking about like the big big rig trucks. I don't want to be around that individual either. Also a dangerous person to be around. You know the guy that I'm talking about. This guy that has the Ford F-150. This guy that has the big truck that thinks because, his car is sitting a little higher up, he doesn't think that the rules of the snow and the ice and the weather apply to him. That person always drives like an idiot. I'm telling you on behalf of the rest of us, stay away from us, man. Please. Stay away from me. Stay away from Rob. Stay away from our families. I don't want to be on the road with you. Please stay at home this weekend. You're a menace. You're a menace to society. I want to play it one more time because I can't believe this man said this.
This has the potential to be one of the most significant storms in Kansas City's history, but I'll say that we've never been more prepared. We've never had more drivers, more trucks, more salt on hand in our history, period. We've got 40,000 tons of salt, 8,000 tons of ice span, and we've got 300 snow removal trucks. We've got 400 drivers. We are ready to go.
I be feeling like the people in Kansas City, Missouri be trying to tell us they're prepared for the snow to like psych themselves out of it. Yeah, man, we got this. Man, we ain't worried about that snow. We got this. Yeah, I don't know, man. I lived in Kansas City my whole life. You guys are very rarely prepared for these things. Weather people have been telling you this. It'll then pop up on Sunday. Like, wait, hold on, wait. We're not going to see a speck of salt out there. Just stay safe, man. That's it. Stay safe. That's really the point of. That's really hit number one. We'll get to football here in a little bit, but I at least want to share with you guys hit number one. All right, Rob, hit it.
Your workday is over.
Oh, yeah.
You're headed home, and now you're stuck in traffic. Time to get caught up on the biggest stories in Kansas City and around the country with CDOT and Rob. It's time for the hits. Number one.
Carrington Hits are brought to you by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu.
Someone on the text line, CDOT, can we get a shout out to the people who have to work outside during this crap? I work for AT&T, so I'll be out there. Hey, man. If my company had me working outside for this kind of stuff, we'd be coming together for a holdout. If all of y'all come together, you can get a raise. You know who I wouldn't want to be? AT&T if the internet goes out and the cable goes out. If all of y'all band together, y'all can get a raise simultaneously. Hey, man, we not working this weekend in this. We need raises. We need better conditions. You got to come together to fight the man. To fight the power is what you need to be doing. But no, shout out to anybody that's got to be outside during this. I'm telling you right now, once I go inside my home, I'm not coming out until it's time to go to work on Sunday. I'm not interested in it. I got some documentaries to watch. I got some movies to watch. We got some football to watch. I ain't coming outside. I don't have any interest in it. None. Not a little bit of interest. All right, Rob, let's get to the hits. I apologize.
Number two.
Not to pivot from Snowmageddon to the Kansas City Chiefs, but
that's more interesting than the game they got coming up.
They do take the field on Sunday against the Denver Broncos, but it's not the on the field that has Chiefs Twitter and people all abuzz today. Per Jordan Schultz. Is Jordan Schultz friend of the show? Where does he land?
He's not friend of the show.
Okay. Jordan Schultz says that...
You know who he is? Acquaintance of the show. We cool with Jordan Schultz. He ain't our boy, though. You know what I mean? Matt Verderam's our guy.
James Palmer, friend of the show.
Yeah, that's our guy. Jordan Schultz, we cool with Jordan Schultz. I ain't got no beef with him.
Guy the show knows.
Yeah.
He's saying...
Friend of a friend.
Friend of a friend. He is saying the Chiefs have opened up their IR window for Jalen Watson. Carrington, how big of a boost could this be for the Chiefs defense to potentially have the return of what was potentially their elite number 2 corner?
Let me give you guys a statistic very quickly. This is the stat, my friends. Opposing quarterbacks this season completed 60.8% of their passes against the Chiefs when Jalen Watson was on the field. They completed 67% of their passes when Jalen Watson was off the field. If we went through the last 15 news stories for the Kansas City Chiefs, I would say since the DJ Humphries injury, every single story has been positive for Kansas City. Since we found out Patrick Mahomes was fine with the ankle injury, everything has gone Kansas City's way. Mahomes wasn't hurt nearly as badly as we thought originally. Kelsey got his touchdown. Xavier Worthy is playing the best football of his young career. Trent McDuffie's getting interceptions left and right. He looks like Charles Peanut Tillman all of a sudden, just forcing fumbles and picks and doing all kind of things. They're getting DJ Humphries back. They're getting Jalen Watson back. You're giving Isaiah Pacheco time to rest. The entire team gets 3 weeks to rest. I told you this a couple of weeks ago. I firmly believe it now. This is the best that the Chiefs have been heading into the postseason since the COVID year. I think the COVID team was the best team that they've had. I don't know if that's a hot take anymore. I know that team lost in the Super Bowl to Tampa Bay, but that team was running through the National Football League. There was a pretty big gap and decided gap between the Chiefs and all the other teams in the AFC that season. I think we're seeing something very, very similar right now. What's the thing that you're worried about heading into it? I would say there is no on-the-field worry about Kansas City heading into the postseason. The only worry is the rest versus rust argument, and we'll talk about that next week. No reason to have that conversation now. But there is not a single on-the-field thing regarding the Chiefs that you are worried about right now heading into the postseason. That's a really good spot to be. That is not what every other team in the NFL has. The Lions might be the 1 seed in the NFC, and they don't think they can stop people. That's a problem. The defense is playing well. The offense is playing well. You got time to rest. You're getting key pieces back. This is the best that the Chiefs have been in 4 years. 5 years now.
Number 3.
Well, Carrington, we talked about rest versus rust. Let's talk about how it could impact one potential player this Sunday for the Chiefs, Hollywood Brown, who has not played much since his return, but has been important in his return. If you were Coach Andy Reid, how would you handle Hollywood on Sunday in a meaningless game against the Broncos, who are, in fact, pushing for a playoff spot?
All right, I think there are 3 main stories for Sunday. You can fade the music down. That can be the last hit. I think there's 3 major stories. Number 1, how does Carson Wentz play? Now, I know people don't remember this, but it wasn't that long ago Carson Wentz was the man. Now, they love a good list in the summer. I love a good list in the summer. That's what we do in sports talk, is come up with random lists over the summer. So I Googled this because I remembered this, but I wanted to be certain. So this is the summer of 2017. The summer. ESPN did their top 25 players under the age of 25. This is a real time capsule conversation. Let me give you the top 8. Number 8, Rob, was Leonard Williams. Number 7 was Todd Gurley. Number 6 was Ezekiel Elliott. 5, Jalen Ramsey. 4, Jadeveon Clowney. 3 was Marcus Peters, to let you know how long ago this was, and he was playing for the Chiefs at the time. Number 2 was Joey Bosa. And number 1, the number 1 player on ESPN's under 25 list back in 2017 was Carson Wentz.
They have Carson Wentz as the number 1 player in the league under 25. Agree? Disagree?
Quarterback-driven league, Teddy. It is. It's quarterback. I mean, what Wentz has done this year, I can see how everyone would look to him right now. I agree with it.
Yeah.
Spectacular player leading the Eagles to the best record in the league.
Listen, if you were to have this list last year, you could have made the argument that Dak Prescott would be number 1 and Carson Wentz would have been number 9. This year, Wentz and the Eagles are winning, so he goes 1, Dak Prescott's 9. Quarterback league, and both of these teams are set up for years to come.
I know you guys hear that clip the way that I hear it. Man, Dak, he ain't done nothing in all that time. Dak been the same quarterback on the same team, and they ain't won nothing since 2017. It's not a single thing. Not an NFC championship game, not a Super Bowl appearance. What, they don't won like 2 playoff games since then? We've been trying this Dak Prescott thing for a long time, but that's neither here nor there. Carson Wentz at one point was thought to be a high-level prospect. I believe that Carson Wentz has an imaginary MVP in his house. If Carson Wentz doesn't get hurt this season that the Eagles win the Super Bowl, I believe that Carson Wentz wins MVP. Now, do they win the Super Bowl that year? We'll never know. I don't know how the season would have ended, but I know how the regular season would have ended. Carson Wentz was playing at an MVP level. So I think that the number 1 question about this game, if we're talking about the game and what it means and you're invested on if the Chiefs win or lose, does Carson Wentz play well? If he plays well, it gives the Chiefs the opportunity to pull off the upset and beat the Denver Broncos. It also sets Carson Wentz up to where I think Carson Wentz could be a starting quarterback next year in the National Football League. Now, he's going to be a bridge quarterback for a team. He's going to be a Jacoby Brissett. He's going to be a Tyrod Taylor. He's going to be a Gardner Minshew type. But if Carson Wentz goes out there against a top 5 defense in the league and throws for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns and no picks. With the Chiefs' backup offense, Carson Wentz is going to be on somebody's team next year with the chance to start, and he's going to make a lot of money in the process. They're already having this conversation in New York.
They're going to find themselves in a really weird situation because as I was looking over the list of quarterbacks, let's face it, if they're not trading up to get somebody and giving up half their draft in next year's first round. I would not do that. No, not for any of these guys. I mean, like I think that they can play in the league. I just don't think that they're worth these high picks. No matter how desperate you are for a quarterback, go out and find somebody else. Go out and find a Carson Wentz. Go out and find a Kirk Cousins. Go find somebody that's going to be cheap and is going to be a stopgap, and worry about next year or the year after that. I don't see anybody on this board right now that is worth like what it would take to go up and get them, because people value that first or second overall pick because they feel like they need to fill a void at the most important position.
So number 1, is Carson Wentz going to play well? Number 2 is, what does DJ Humphries look like? We had Nate Taylor on the show just a little bit ago, and I asked him, all right, look into your crystal ball. What percentage chance is it that Joe Thuney is the playoff left tackle? What percentage is it that DJ Humphries is the Chiefs left tackle during the playoffs? Here's what Nate said.
Right now, Joe Thuney is the left tackle for the playoffs. I would give it a 60% chance today. What matters about Sunday's game, and really the only thing that matters beyond staying healthy, getting out of there with nothing crazy going on, is how close can DJ Humphries flip that ratio? Can he flip it from 60-40 against him to 60-40 in favor of him? Because I think Andy Reid would love, as well as Brett Veach, the general manager, you don't make the move for DJ Humphrey unless you think your best 5 includes both of them on the field at the same time, DJ Humphries and Joe Thuney. The issue is, because of the hamstring injury, he has not even finished one game this season. Coming off an ACL, it's really, really tough. And at some point, you just got to trust the one you've been dancing with that you, again, won 3 games in 11 days with.
So that was Nate Taylor earlier joining us on the show. If you ask me today, I think that Joe Thuney should start at left tackle. I think the best offensive line that they've had has been the one that has had Joe Thuney at left tackle. I know that it's not ideal and it's playing him out of position, but Joe Thuney has been the best left tackle that they've had. And I am a little bit leery about going into the postseason with the guy who has such little 2024 action and throwing him basically in the middle of the postseason at that position. So I'm leaning towards Joe Thuney being the left tackle. Let's see how Sunday goes. Maybe DJ Humphries goes out there, he plays really well, he's healthy, and we can reevaluate this conversation. You don't need to make a decision today. The Chiefs have 2 weeks until they play a postseason game. So they got a lot of time until we need to do it. I'm just telling you where my head is, where my mind is heading into this final week of the season. I also think, and we're going to be joined by Joe Loria here coming up in a bit, I think 11 points is way too many for the Chiefs to be underdogs. I think it's way too many. In fact, to the point that it doesn't make any sense to me that they're this big of underdogs. It's not like this is the first time that the Chiefs have ever been in this situation before. Like, they were in this situation last year. They didn't get blown out. In fact, they won the game. Now, the Broncos are better than last year's Chargers team, but they've been in this situation with multiple quarterbacks. They were in this situation with Chase Daniel a decade ago. Week 17 game, it's always against the Chargers. They were in this exact same situation. They lost 27-24 in overtime. So I'm not here telling you that the Chiefs are going to win. In fact, I don't really care if the Chiefs win or lose this game, and I imagine you don't really care if the Chiefs win or lose. If they win, great. If they lose, what does it matter? I mean, it's not about that. I don't care. Get out of this game healthy is the only objective in this game. That's it. The Chiefs, from an injury standpoint, are in a really good space right now. Don't mess that up. I understand that some people have to play. You can't put everybody in bubble wrap. This is not the preseason where you have much more expanded rosters and everybody can play. So you're going to have to play some starters. You're going to have to play some key guys that you're depending on for the postseason, aside from the 6 to 8 that we know are not touching the field. But Noah Gray is probably going to have to play in this game. Those kinds of players. Get them through the game healthy. Get them through the game healthy. So let's see how they play it. I would play Hollywood Brown for a little bit because he only has 45 snaps this year, but I'm not going to fault them if they don't do that. If they decide to give Hollywood Brown the day off, my take on Monday will not be, man, they should have played Hollywood. Bro, get through the game healthy. However you feel like you need to do it, that's what I support. I want you to get through this game 100%, and you got way bigger fish to fry. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to be joined by Joe Loria of Fox 4. We're going to get his weather report and get you ready for the weekend. The weather has become the top story in the national, not just the National Football League. It has been in Kansas City. My bad. I was thinking football. No, it has been the top story in Kansas City. This is what I wanted to talk about in the National Football League. This is why I was thinking ahead just a little bit. Did you guys know that there are 15 backup quarterbacks that are going to start this weekend in the NFL? 15. We have a game in which Bailey Zappi is going to start. Tyler Huntley, Josh Dobbs, Tanner McKee, Cooper Rush, or Trey Lance, either one. I mean, you can take your pick. It doesn't matter to me which one starts. Carson Wentz, Mac Jones. There are 15 backup quarterbacks that are going to start this week in the NFL. I know that we believe that more football is always better and that people rather watch bad football than anything else. Week 18 has not improved the National Football League in any way. All it's done is make the owners money. That's all it's done. There are 3 games on Sunday that have a direct implication on who makes the postseason. 3 on Sunday. And it's possible that it could either be 4 games total or 5 for the weekend, depending on what happens Saturday. If the Ravens win, then the Steelers, they're done. The Steelers can go ahead. You can't win the division. You are locked into a certain seed. I don't think the Steelers are going to try very hard in that game. So we're looking at heading into the final week of the season, an extra week in the season, and we just got a lot of nonsense. Now, there's a great game between the Lions and the Vikings, but it's also a divisional game. Those 2 teams are going to have to play each other for a second time regardless anyway. That game could have been week 17 with the old schedule, and we would have had the exact same scenario, which it matters. We had a Monday Night Football game last week that had no implication on anything. It was just for vibes. We got a lot of games this week that are just simply going for vibes. Sometimes more does not equal better. And when it comes to football, as opposed to all the other sports that we watch, we just think that more football is the best thing. We never talk about competitiveness and what it means for the regular season. This is not a better product that over almost half of the teams in the league this weekend are going to be playing backup quarterbacks, including the one that you watch here in Kansas City. Let's get you guys a quick weather report with Joe Loria of Fox 4 joining us on the show. Joe, what can you tell us about this storm? Everybody makes it seem like this is going to be a massive storm.
I hate to say it, but I think it's going to be a massive storm. Spent about an hour today with Jacob Lanier, and we were going through, well, let's look at this. Maybe it won't be as bad. Let's look at that. Maybe it won't be as bad. But, boy, we keep running out of reasons why it won't be as bad. I think this is going to be a nasty one, a doozy. And it's all going to kind of start tomorrow afternoon. There'll be some little patches of snow showers, a couple of sleet showers out there. That'll start to kind of increase in coverage tomorrow night. Roads should be okay, I think, tomorrow afternoon into early tomorrow evening, and then things get a little messier tomorrow night and into Sunday morning. Here's the thing about this storm. Sunday morning, when a lot of folks wake up, assuming you're up at like 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you're going to look out the window and you're going to be like, yeah, big whoop. There's barely any snow on the ground, especially on the south side of the metro. You're like, these guys are wrong again. No, you got to give this one a little time, because as we go through Sunday morning, the snow will start to move from the north to the south, overtake the area, and it may be puking snow, hashtag, as we get into late Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. I mean, it is going to come down. There'll probably be 40-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to look like a blizzard out there. It may, in fact, be a blizzard in the end as the snow is falling at an incredible rate, and it's going to pile up very, very quickly Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening before things start to wind down. So what we're going to do is, in terms of accumulations, put the metro, vast majority of the metro, from, let's say, Platte City all the way down towards Overland Park to near Olathe, in a 6 to 12 inch range of snow. The reason why we're using that range is if we see a little transition quicker, we'll get that higher end number. So it's conceivable some areas could get over 10 inches. If that transition takes a little extra, few hours longer to happen, it might be on the lower side of that, especially south of I-70. The further south you go, we're concerned about ice south of US 50, Sedalia, Clinton, that general area down there, Bates County, Butler, Pleasanton, Lynn County, Ottawa, Garnett. That area might be more vulnerable to ice with a little bit of snow on the backside. Like I said, Carrington, this is going to be a doozy of a storm. Pay attention to the wind situation. There could be some power outages, especially south of Kansas City. Yeah, this is going to be something to see. And boy, when that transition happens, like I said, it may just flat out pour down snow at some point Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon.
Joe, I saw I can't remember what meteorologist said it. They said that it is currently below freezing, and it is going to be below freezing for every minute until next weekend.
Yeah, at least next Friday and potentially next weekend, because all the snow on the ground, that ain't going nowhere. So it's going to refrigerate the air. That means some morning lows, some of the outlying areas outside of Kansas City, Monday, well, probably Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday morning. Some areas out there are going to be like 10 below. So watch out for the frozen water pipes. Think of everything you did last January to make sure your pipes didn't freeze, and you'll probably have to do that again.
That is Joe Loria joining us on the show. Joe, you never come on the show when there's good news. We got to start having you on the show in like April or May.
Here's good news. Denver, sunshine, middle 30s.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate
That's as good as I could do for you, man.
I appreciate you. That is Joe Loria joining us on the show today to give us a weather report. It is going to be very sunny where you were watching TV. It won't be sunny for you outside, but it is going to be very, very sunny for them on the television. All right, coming up on the other side, let's get to the biggest game of the weekend in the National Football League. We got the Lions. We got the Vikings. We previewed it earlier. We'll play for you our preview. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5. The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Fellas, it's the new year, and for many of us, this is a time to reflect and make some positive changes in your life. And if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction and you're tired of the frustration and embarrassment that it causes, it's time to pick up the phone and call Heartland Men's Health. Resolve your ED today, and at Heartland Men's Health, they have treatments that work when all your other options have failed you. And with a success rate of over 90%, you can see instant result. Do you remember the first time that this happened? You thought it was going to be a one-time thing, but then it happened again and again. But that's perfectly fine because there is a cure. This is a treatable problem if you just pick up the phone and call my friends at Heartland Men's Health. They have successfully treated men across the metro, and for just $100, you can get your initial visit, a medical consult, some tests, and a test dose. And if this doesn't work in the office, then your visit is on the house. So pick up the phone and change your life. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com with 3 locations around the metro to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
Underdog is the place to cash in all your takes during the playoffs this last week of the season, because Missouri sports fans got great news. Underdog is available to play in your state. Right now, you could be making those selections about whether or not you think the stats are a little too low on Carson Wentz this weekend. Maybe you really like Kareem Hunt to have a big weekend and you think he's going to go higher. You can make those entries over at Underdog and start winning cash now. Give yourself a chance by showing how skilled you are in these picks. With Underdog's double flex option, you can even take 2 L's and turn them into a W. All of those things are available and more by visiting Underdog. Underdog is the best play to play champs. Download the app and sign up for promo code using TAPP, T-A-P-P, and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.npcgambling.org.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunkt Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on 2 wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
Join 96.5 The Fan and Bud Light for the Fans Football Show with Mitchell Schwartz or Sean Barber and Jay Binkley. Every Friday this football season starting at 6 at participating Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Enjoy $5 talls, prizes, and Chiefs gear. For a list of locations, go to 965thefan.com. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Multi-car crash closing 2 left lanes, still backing traffic up. Eastbound 70 is a collision right at 435. And we're seeing brake lights all the way back to East 27th Street there. And still looking at debris in the roadway northbound 71 just past Meyer Boulevard. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Chiefs fans, it's Trent McDuffie. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, we had a Lions guest on the show earlier. We also had a Vikings guest on the show earlier. I want to play both of them for you and get you ready for the biggest game this weekend in the National Football League. Let's start with the road team. Let's start with our dear friend, Henry Lake. You guys remember him. He used to work with us back when we were 610 Sports Radio. And our conversation with Lake started with, how did we get here with the Vikings? They were a team that was scheduled to win 6 games. They won 14 games.
Well, it starts with Sam Darnold. I don't think that anybody expected Sam Darnold to play to the level that he's played at, clearly, right? Like, when you look at the Minnesota Vikings coming into the season, you knew you had the best wide receiver in football in Justin Jefferson. You knew that you had an upgrade at running back with Aaron Jones coming in from Green Bay, and you knew you had a good, solid offensive line. Now, defensively, you felt good about the defense because of defensive coordinator Brian Flores, but you didn't know that Andrew Van Ginkel would be as good as he's been, that Jonathan Grenard would make the Pro Bowl. You didn't know that all the pieces that you added in free agency would be as good as what they've been. You know, when I looked at this team coming into the year and I saw that number, I actually felt like they might go under because I just didn't really believe in all of the pieces kind of meshing and coming together. But I'm like everybody else. I was absolutely % wrong, and they've been outstanding. And I do think that one of the things that you have to say, C-Dot, is the fact that Kevin O'Connell has to be viewed as one of the maybe top 5 or 6 coaches in the NFL right now.
Lake, if we're looking forward, what do you think the plan is with Sam Darnold? Let's say that the Vikings have a good end to the season but don't win the Super Bowl. Let's say they lose in the NFC Championship game. What do you think happens with Sam Darnold? Is he back next year? Is it a franchise tag and trade situation? Could they trade J.J. McCarthy? I think the Vikings quarterback situation is going to be one of the top storylines of the offseason.
Agree with you 100%. And I would guess that they're going to look at franchise tagging Sam Darnold. You know, I know that this has been a phenomenal season. I'm not sure that they look at him as a guy that they want to extend for maybe 2 to 3 years, specifically with a couple different things. Number one, you got J.J. McCarthy. What are their feelings about him coming off of missing this year with the torn meniscus? And then secondly, what was the reason behind grabbing Daniel Jones? Was it just as insurance for if something was to happen to Sam Darnold this year and they're going to look to move on from him? Like, what do they do? They see something there? Is that a guy that they feel like they can develop and mold? But I do believe that the plan would be, or at least I would go with, franchise tagging Sam Darnold and running it back for another year.
Yeah, that's what I would end up doing as well. Like, you kind of have a little bit of time that you can buy. You can franchise tag Sam Darnold. You make him the starter next year. If he balls out, great, and then you'll figure out what to do with J.J. McCarthy. If this is a one-season kind of fluky scenario, you bench Sam Darnold next year. You got J.J. McCarthy. You give him the opportunity, and you go from there. Like, the franchise tag allows the Vikings to have another year to evaluate if this is real or not with Sam Darnold.
I agree with you 100%. And the funny thing is I've seen a few people have kind of thrown out, well, because this quarterback class is rather light, would teams be interested in going after J.J. McCarthy in a trade? I don't know how you could get back a first-round pick with J.J. McCarthy right now, just coming off of a torn meniscus. I mean, if that's a possibility, if you could recoup a high pick for J.J. McCarthy, then I maybe ponder doing that. But right now, I think that the best play is what you just stated. Go ahead and get another year of looking at Sam Darnold and just kind of, playing it that way.
Right now, we're talking to Henry Lake here for a couple more minutes. Lake, I'm wondering if the Vikings have ever had a regular season game this big. I understand they've had some playoff games. Back in '98, they had a chance to go to the Super Bowl, and that was one of the best regular season teams that we've seen. I don't know if the Vikings have had too many regular season games that even come close to the magnitude of this one.
No, I agree with you again, man, because I asked that question on the show earlier this week. I was like, this is the biggest regular season game for the Minnesota Vikings since when? And we really could not come up with an answer to that question. Now, clearly, in the postseason, that's a totally different situation. But in the regular season, this is big time. And what's so kind of, I think, a little bit frustrating is the fact that you don't win this game. You don't end up with, a high seed still. You're going to fall all the way to, the fifth seed. So it's all or nothing from that perspective. And it's going to be interesting to see how things really play out on Sunday in terms of the matchup, because Detroit's been so good offensively, but people kind of question if they're going to be able to hold up in the playoffs because of their defense having so many injuries. But yeah, no, without question, this might be the biggest game for a regular season game for the Vikings since we've ever seen this organization be in existence.
Like, give me your Lions win if scenario. Give me your Vikings win if scenario.
Lions win if Sam Darnold, turns the football over. We've seen some situations where Sam Darnold has been prone to, have the sack fumble, where he's thrown a couple of interceptions. If he turns the ball over a couple of times, I think the Detroit's able to get that victory. The Minnesota Vikings, they get this victory on Sunday, and I do believe that they will win just because their defense is in much better shape than Detroit. Do I think it's going to be potentially a shootout? Could be. I just think that the Vikings, because of health, are going to be able to get one or two more stops than the Detroit Lions are able to get.
So that was our guy, Henry Lake. That was the Vikings perspective on Sunday Night Football. Let's head to Detroit with Corey Woods and get the Lions perspective on things.
I realized he was special during the introductory press conference. I know a lot of people have given him flack for, the biting the kneecaps and the aggression, but what I took from it was he sounded like a football player. He sounded like a guy that eats, sleeps, and breathes football, and it was a break of the norm from what we've seen in Detroit. You had Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn coming here, tried to bring the Patriot way, ultimately did not work. So under the new principal manager, Sheila Ford Ham, they went and did the opposite. They went in a total different correction and brought somebody that was just a football guy. They had Chris Spielman in tow to bring in other people. So I thought from that introductory press conference, Dan Campbell was the guy. Did I see them going where they are right now? Absolutely not. I thought they would be a playoff team, but best in the league, or at least in the conversation of it, didn't see it this quickly.
Corey, I think a lot of us from the outside look at Dan Campbell as sometimes as the guy who's just a little bit too aggressive, but I will give him this. He is somebody who stands on his convictions and doesn't really care too much about the opinions from the outside. You are in the middle of it. How do Detroit Lions fans feel about it? Because you could argue that aggressiveness last year cost them in the NFC Championship game. Last week on Monday Night Football, the rest of us are saying, no, don't play anybody, and he plays everybody the full time. How do you guys kind of view his aggressiveness towards things?
It really depends on who you ask, but if you want to go with the majority of the people ride with Dan Campbell because grit and blue collar are pretty much the same thing, and that defines the city of Detroit. And they now have, you had the Red Wings, they were successful. The Tigers were successful at one point. The Detroit Pistons, you had the Bad Boys and the Going to Work. Those were all gritty blue collar teams. Detroiters were waiting for their football team to fit that mold, and Dan Campbell came in here, installed that culture, and believed in it. Yes, sometimes fans may, they may think that, hey, the aggression on the fourth downs may be a little bit too much, but at the end of the day, for the most part, people are riding and dying with this coach. Whatever he says is golden pretty much here to everybody. And, again, you've never seen the Detroit Lions as successful under any coach in, since the NFL championship era. So it's hard to knock what he's doing.
Right now, we're talking to Corey Woods. He covers the Lions for M Live Detroit, taking a look at the biggest game this weekend in the National Football League, the biggest game in the regular season between the Lions and the Vikings. All right, let's get to Sunday. Let's get to Sunday Night Football. What is the feeling around the defense right now? Because it looks like this Lions defense is leaking a lot of oil right now. They have been giving up a lot of points the last 6 to 8 weeks, and that's not a defense that you think you can win a championship with.
Well, yeah, we'll say this. The defense is definitely decimated. I mean, at one point you had as many as 16 guys on IR. They're still down a lot of starters. I mean, just a minute ago, we just saw that Alex Anzalone has been upgraded to questionable, so that is a good sign. If he's able to, they're not going to trot him out there unless they feel that he's ready to go. They don't want to put themselves in a bad position and jeopardize them coming back for the playoffs. But, I mean, while this team has definitely been up a lot of yards, a lot of points, they've also found a way to manufacture turnovers, and that has been really key. This past Monday, Kirby Joseph finally got back on the board, picked up 2 interceptions. I think as long as this team can find a way to manufacture a couple of turnovers here and there, they'll be fine because they're going to start getting some of these pieces back right when they need them. You got Jalen Reeves-Maybin back. Alex Anzalone's on the way. Still don't know about Carlton Davis just yet. And it looks like if they're able to get to that Super Bowl, Aiden Hutchinson should be on track to come back.
That's why I feel like, at least in this game, it's obviously really important for both sides. But it feels like this game is a little bit more important for the Lions just because of that rest factor that you said. This Lions team is running on fumes, in my opinion, and that's why I'm surprised that Dan Campbell played it the way that he did in Week 17, knowing that you had a week that you could really sit a lot of key pieces. If the Lions get this, you get 14 days to get right and get ready, and you got 2 home games potentially to go to the Super Bowl. It's going to be really difficult for any team to go into Detroit, especially with that fan base, knowing they got a home game for a chance to win the Super Bowl. It's going to be tough for anybody in the NFC to go in there and win.
Look, I bought earplugs last year, and I still have those same ones. When I put them in my ear for that first wild card game against the Rams, they did nothing. I just went ahead and just said, okay, let me just go ahead and toss these. They're not doing anything. That I have never in my life heard a building that loud. If you telling me right now that the Detroit Lions have a chance to host an NFC championship game inside of Ford Field, regardless of whatever team they face, that is going to be quite the hornet's nest to come in there and play. It will be deafening.
Corey, give me your Lions win-if scenario. Give me your Vikings win-if scenario.
I think the Lions win as long as – here's the key thing. The Lions cannot get out to a slow start. We've seen them when they played the Buffalo Bills. They were able to, trade blows eventually. And, even though the final score looked close, the game was not that close. And that was because the Lions had some empty possessions to start the game. As long as they get out to a hot start and don't have any empty possessions, I believe that is going to be key for them. For the Vikings to win this game, again, right there what I said, you got 2 high-powered offense. If the Vikings can stifle the Lions early and, get them on a couple of empty possessions, you have a weakened Lions secondary with Carlton Davis out, and you got a rookie Terrion Arnold that has been racking up penalties, a little bit handsy. You get them in trouble a little bit early and get Addison, Naylor, Hawkinson, and Jefferson where they need to be. I think the Vikings can win that way.
That was Corey Woods, who covers the Lions, joining us on the show. I understand that it's an NFC game, but it's the biggest regular season game this season in the NFL. And the Chiefs, they don't have a real game this week. The Lions do have a real game this week against the Minnesota Vikings. Keep it right here. You're listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
So the college season is wrapping up, so is the pros. And I know you're looking for a place to grab yourself a cold drink, some great food specials, and you want to be sure that you don't miss a second of the action. Well, let me tell you about the perfect place. It's with my friends over at The Other Place. With 5 locations all around the metro, it is the perfect place to stop in, grab a drink, and catch the game, especially when they have great specials. They have a 14-inch 2-topping pizza for $12, 8 wings in a basket of tots for $12, and $4 domestics. If you're looking for a one-of-a-kind game day experience and the best game day atmosphere when watching football, well, look no further than my friends over at The Other Place.
Kansas City, we know cold weather is no match for warm hearts. With over 2,000 people unhoused in and around the Kansas City area, 96.5 The Fan needs your help. Working with Unity Southeast and KC, they are in immediate need of your gently used warm winter coats and can drop off winter coats to any of the KC area Tide cleaners. Check out the Unity Southeast Warming Shelter's Amazon wish list at unitysoutheastandkc.org or find links and learn more at 965thefan.com.
Your projects begin here. The Casey Remodel and Garden Show, presented by Renewal by Anderson, January 10th through 12th at the American Royal Center. 3 days only for great deals, new ideas, and practical advice with trusted local experts. See twin sisters Leslie Davis and Lindsay Lamb from HGTV's hit show Unsellable Houses on Friday and Saturday. Shop, compare, and save on kitchens and baths to outdoor living and more at the Casey Remodel and Garden Show, January 10th through 12th. Buy tickets early and save at CaseyRemodelandGarden.com.
Have you ever tried something for the first time and then wondered how you ever got along without it? That's how thousands of new Navage users describe their first experience. Once they feel sinus relief and can breathe clearly again, many wonder why it took them so long to experience the Navage difference. Navage uses refreshing saline and gentle suction to quickly suck out mucus, germs, and other airborne irritants. Stop suffering from congestion and start feeling better again with Navage. Brand new look, same great product.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located at 137th and Metcalf in Overland Park on Friday, January 3rd. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. For more details, go to 965thefan.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by the KC Boat and Fishing Show, January 9th through 12th at Bartle Hall.
Get ready for fun in the sun with screaming deals at the KC Boat and Fishing Show, January 9th through 12th at Bartle Hall with kids free admission. Take advantage of 4 days of special show pricing on hundreds of boats plus non-stop entertainment. Go to kcmoboatshow.com for more info.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic is sponsored by Turnpoint Services, the technicians you can trust. Still dealing with that crash involving multiple vehicles eastbound 70 right at 435, closing 2 left lanes. And traffic backed up to East 27th Street. Debris in the roadway hoping to be cleared out soon, but still causing slowdowns northbound 71 just past Meyer Boulevard. Money back guarantees and parts and labor warranties mean you aren't just buying products, you're securing your investment. For a limited time, receive a free furnace when you purchase an AC. Schedule your complimentary proposal online at anthonyphc.com. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Kane is in the building.
Welcome to your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, before we get out of here, I want to tell you guys a couple of stories. The first story is about a rookie on the Seattle Seahawks. His name is Byron Murphy. Now, Byron Murphy is actually a pretty good player for the Seattle Seahawks. Well, you know how it goes. It was time for the rookie dinner. This is a rite of passage in the National Football League. You have to pay for the defense to go out there and have a meal. Go to a nice steakhouse. You go to an 801. Shout out to my guy Nick over at 801. You got to go to a Capitol Grill. You got to go to one of them fancy spots. Well, he took his teammates out to dinner, and they pranked him with the bill. The bill was for $155,000. And they videotaped his reaction, And then they're like, all right, man, quit playing. What's the real number for the bill? They then came around with the bill, and the bill was $38,000. $38,000. Rob, how did they trick us with the fake number? And then they try to give us another number, and that also could be the fake number. I'm not buying this. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the receipt. Come on now. This is crazy. Rob, they got Louis the 13 shots. These are 1 ounce pours. I'm not joking, folks. These are 1 ounce pours. They were $350 a piece. He ordered 23 of them. I'm sitting here looking at it. They got Douce, 1 ounce pours. Rob, the 1 ounce pour was $1,200. They ordered 8 of these. Hey, man, y'all was really running it up on my mans. I'm serious. Y'all was running it up on my mans. Come on now. You guys didn't even eat. I'm sitting here. I'm looking at the menu. Y'all didn't go crazy on the food. Y'all didn't go crazy. 38? Whew. That's pricey. You hit me. 38? Right, what's the most your bill's ever been when you go on to eat?
I mean, just like for me and my wife?
Just the most, when they handed you the bill around, you slid your debit card.
It was in the 300. But I've never lost credit card roulette like a bachelor party or anything yet. Knock on wood.
You want to try? You want to play?
No.
Day? We can play. We usually have once or twice a year, me and you go out. If you want to play credit card roulette, we can go play.
You know what I'm going to order? Water.
Yo, I had a lot of fun, man. Take care of yourself this weekend, man. Don't be out ripping and running the streets, man. Be safe. We'll be back on Monday. I would say we'll be locked in. We won't really be locked in until we know who the Chiefs are playing, but next week will be fun anyway. All right, it's The Drive. Take care of yourself. Hey, you know what? I'm going to let Daniel Craig take you home.
Ladies